in Los Angeles, California. The first and only webcast of Real Action Cash Game Poker. My name is Bart Hanson. I'm here with Dave Tuckman. Today marks the start of the American Poker Classic Tournament Series here at the Bike, which is exclusively all no-limit hold'em. And that goes on for 2 weeks. So we're probably going to try to spread the highest games that we can go. And tonight we're going to do our $500 no-limit game, which we don't get to see that much on the show. But, Dave, it's the game that you and I play the most of, and it really is the bread and butter of the no-limit section here.
Yeah.
It's kind of the lowest uncapped game that you can find. A lot of other casinos have a restricted buy-in $500 game, but, of course, this is 5-10 uncapped.
Yeah, it's great. 5-10 blinds, a lot of action.
So let's head over to the table.
Let's do it.
And let's introduce the players. And I got to tell you, Dave, I'm revved up because right over here in seat 1, let's introduce the guy.
Seat number 1, that is, well, we've been talking about this guy for how long?
We've been talking ever since the beginning of the show. That is Robert Roeder. Now, we've been talking about this guy, if anyone knows the show and been watching the show, but he's never been on the show. He's one of the 3 guys that has a fan at the table. Him, Jay Katsutani, and Armenian Chris Gregorian, right?
Right. And
he is a character, Dave. He tends to really irritate a lot of the other players. I think that's kind of his part of his, maybe call it metagame or so.
Maybe that could be it. Yeah, I mean, he might just be one of those irritating people in life, though. But either way, we'll see. Yeah. His name is Robert Roeder, and we'll see how he plays. Seat number 2, we've got DJ. And DJ's new to the show. Seat number 3, we've got John. And John's sporting that bright red shirt, also new to the game, new to Live at the Bike. Seat number 4, Elvis is in the house, and Elvis has been on the show before. Elvis, I forget how he plays, though. Not sure. I think he's a pretty solid player, though, from what I remember. Seat number 5, we've got JR, and JR is very solid. I mean, I'm talking very tight.
Yep.
Really, really tight player. If he's in there, he's got it. Seat number 6, we've got Clint, and getting word that he's new, but he seems familiar to me.
No, he has been on the show before.
Yeah, I thought he was. Yeah, okay. Seat number 7 is Alex, and Alex is new to the show.
Yep.
Don't recognize him at all. And that's one that's really exciting about this month with the tournaments in town. We're going to see a lot of new players.
Absolutely.
We've got the San Francisco Giants being represented there by Greg in seat number 8. And seat number 9, we've got Gary.
And Gary's new as well, right?
Yeah, sporting the Notre Dame.
So this is going to be, interesting, Dave. It's always interesting for us, too, to do commentary on new players because we don't necessarily have a lot of background. I mean, I know that I've played with Robert Roeder in many, many tournaments. He's mainly a tournament player, as probably are most of these guys. So you wonder if this game is going to be played a little bit more of, say, tournament style.
Yeah, you wonder.
As opposed to a cash game.
Well, that's one thing that's really exciting. Sometimes, obviously, it can get a little frustrating for us when we see our 10-20 game and we see the same faces.
Yeah.
But in this case, in this game, you look here and you see these 5-10 players, all new faces.
So
all new players.
5-10 no limit, $500 max. $500 min, uncapped buy-in. Yellow chips are $5, purples are $25s, whites are hundreds. As always, we like to keep the show interactive. You can email us at live@thebike.com. Follow a thread over on 2plus2.com spelled out. Go to Tournament Poker, World Poker Tour, etc. Got a couple new things starting this week, Dave. I always like to encourage people to email us strategy questions. And we're going to be starting kind of a video blog this week, and I think it might be up on the site. It might be up on the. All right, the button's over here, over to C2.
It might be on the site. It might not be.
Let's limp around here 3 ways. So it's a $30 pot here, Dave.
Well, how about trip queens for JR?
In seat 5, he's got queen jack, and he's going to bet right out, as you would expect from him.
Yeah.
Yep. And I got to tell you, I love betting out, obviously, against guys who really like to play tournaments because those guys are always going to make a move on you, it seems like. You were talking about how you were playing in the, Party Poker this Sunday, and you were just amazed what people called with all in, as weak as just top pair is just the nuts, right? Top pair, garbage kicker. Right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it really is amazing. You see these players, you go, wow, okay. And sometimes I'm just watching hands, and you see one guy raise, another guy move all in, another guy call, and you go, well, they must have 2 pair or set or something like that. No, top pair, 10 kicker.
Right. But Button's going to move over here to seat 3, and we're going to have a straddle here in seat 6, so it's going to be $20 to go.
Now, last Friday was a lot of fun watching you play. Did you get a chance to check out the archives and see yourself?
I did indeed. The only hand that I really, you correctly were kind of in my head was that hand against Barry, when I really thought I could represent King Queen. I'll get to that in a second. C4 is going to raise here. It looks like he's got pocket tens.
Yeah, he's going to raise out of the blinds.
A lot of dead money because it's straddle. I don't mind that play at all.
Yeah, $70 dead money in there. And this should get it done.
He's going to make it 80 more. Now, with his stack size, there's no way anyone should call him here. I mean, sometimes I figure out when I'm trying to make a raise out of the blind, the hand maybe sometimes it's ace-queen suited, sometimes it's a pocket pair. I'm actually trying to make the raise big enough where I don't necessarily want, if I'm in that, say, median range, if I'm not really deep, I'm actually trying to make it almost incorrect to call with small pocket pairs and suited connectors. I mean, if I have 1,000 behind and I make it 120 to go with pocket tens or with ace-queen suited, I don't mind the call with pocket threes for someone for 120 there.
No, not at all.
You know,
they're clearly not getting the right odds to make that call. Yeah, I was wondering now on that hand, obviously, on Friday night we were talking about the hands where you were thinking of bluffing Barry. I was wondering if what I was saying was exactly what was going on through your mind.
Absolutely. If anyone missed the hand, it was Jack 10-7. I had King 9, and I was in the big blind, and Barry led out on the flop. I had a double gut or DD 8 into the queen, but I thought I could represent King Queen if an ace, or maybe even if a 9 came. And a 9 would actually bring a 1-card straight, so I thought it would be kind of scary. But he fired out so much on the river that I would almost have to have committed my whole stack to King Queen there. Now, seat 4 here is going to raise with King Deuce of Hearts on the button, and he is going to take it down there.
And that's what you might see a lot of. A lot of tournament players are kind of in that, ooh, I've got to steal the blinds. Now, the thing in this game, though, obviously not like a tournament, the blinds are not escalating. There are no antes. So stealing the blinds, there's really not that much value in doing it.
One of the common things we see in these games during tournament series is people raising good amounts, whether in position or out of position with ace rag, and also committing almost all of their chips, regardless of their stack size, pre-flop with ace king.
Yeah.
Because that's almost something that you might do in a tournament.
Yeah.
But
you can always almost count on one of those tournament players raising in late position with some sort of garbage king suited or ace rag.
Now, seat 2 here, he's going to limp in with ace 6 offsuit in mid to late position here. That's DJ.
Put him back in the booth.
And
bring us Dave and take Robert for commentary.
Look at the guys are already asking to get Robert Roeder off the table in seat 1. They want to bring him back in the booth and get Dave out to play. That's what I overhear on the table.
Now, I'm not sure, is that because they don't like Robert, or is that because I'm alive?
I think he's talking a lot. I think that's...
What, they think I'm not going to talk as much?
Now, it gets checked over to DJ here. Now, he's bet with ace 6. And Alex, I think he's trying to work through, does he have the best hand here? He's not going to get involved.
Yeah, I mean, you got to pick your spots there. King 3, you know, if you have the best hand, okay, fine, but what are you going to do? You got to really play it aggressively. Almost any card comes out in the turn, you have no idea where you're at.
I'm going to really go out on a limb and say that I have actually talked with Robert Roeder on the side away from the table. He's actually kind of a cordial, nice guy, but when he's on the table, he does certain things that really rub people the wrong way at the table.
I'm going to go on a limb and say that on a table, and I've only played with him a few times, but every time I've played with him, I really thought he was just an asshole.
Wow.
I got to tell you. I mean, when I played with him, I'm not saying personally off the table, but on the table, I mean, like little things, like calling every single thing. And
yeah, he's really one of those guys who's a stickler to try to kind of edge out rules. And he'd be a guy that would call like a string raise. Remember when I went through that shenanigans a couple weeks ago, Dave, with my string raise?
Yeah.
String bet.
Take advantage of every little loophole that he can.
And it looked like there that seat number 7, he was going to call and then he chopped, and then JR explained to him what a chop was. So there you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Obviously, you don't chop in tournaments, but in a cash game, you can chop it if you want, like you stack the blinds.
Reduced rate.
Once again, we're live at the bike. I'm David Tuckman here at Bart Hansen. And you can catch us every Monday through Friday from 7 to 10 p.m. Tonight's game is our 5-10 blind game. It's a $500 unrestricted blind game. Yellow chips are $5 chips. If you see any $25 chips, those are the purple ones. There they are. And if you see any white chips, those are $100 chips. The little blue ones on top of this stack, those are $1 chips, used usually to toke. You can also check out our website, www.liveatthebike.com. We got a bunch of cool things over there. Pokulator and blogs and poker news. You can even buy a Live at the Bike T-shirt now.
Yep, you can check out our interview on the circuit. I don't think that's over at the website yet, but I have an interview with Rounders, the poker show, that's under my bio.
Yeah, that's great.
And we're already getting word the players are actually asking if we can put a bounty on seat 1 already, Dave. So he must be up to his normal shenanigans.
They're free to do whatever they want.
Yeah. I believe I got word that Robert Roeder wanted to buy more chips with an American Express traveler's check, and it's over.
Can you? Are they like?
I think you can do it at the main cage.
Okay.
10-8 deuce here. There was a raise by Alex with King Jack. He made it 35 to go, and he's going to make the continuation bet on the button here.
That'll probably get it done.
Now, JR, I mean, he's got overs and a gut shot, but you know JR, he's pretty tight, solid. JR really plays a good game in a cash game. I know he plays a lot of tournaments, and I wonder if he makes the adjustment. Because, you know, sometimes we talk about you might almost play a little too tight with escalating blinds, right?
Yeah, you wonder. I mean, although I'll say, you know, we thought Dr. Beebe played it too tight.
Right.
And then Dr. Beebe came to me a couple of weeks ago and told me how he won a seat in the World Series. I go, well, hey. And then we thought Jay Siegel maybe played it too tight for tournaments, but he also obviously made the adjustment. Because he went and came in first place in the
Speaking of
tournament
Dr. Beebe here, first email of the night comes from Todd B. He said, I played in a sit and go this weekend on PokerStars with a Dr. Beebe from Upland, California. Dr. Beebe is from Upland, California. I asked him twice if he was the same Dr. Beebe from Live at the Bike on the webcast. He refused to acknowledge my question. Finally, I blurted out, quote unquote, how could you lay down those queens and sevens? Of which he abruptly got up from the table for 2 or 3 minutes until his big blind got back to him. There you go.
It was mildly humorous. That's classic.
Oh, man. Pocket Kings over here for seat 7.
See, unlike you, I actually have kept my online name anonymous.
Well, my party poker online is anonymous.
Is it? Really? Okay.
Now, Alex is raised to 35 here with Kings. He made the same raise with King Jack. And DJ is going to call him with Ace-8 offsuit. Now, DJ hits an 8. Now, it's kind of a raggy board, so you wonder if DJ is going to continue on with the hand here.
It is a connected board, though. Look at 9-8-7, obviously.
Now, when we talk about tournament plays, this might be a play where if a guy, DJ, only has 400 or 500, Alex might bet, and DJ might check raise all in. I'm not going to say it's going to happen here, but that is kind of a tournament-esque play, right?
Oh, definitely. A lot of times a player will assume, oh, you raised with ace-king or ace-queen, you missed, and now you're just firing out. I'm going to take advantage of it.
Now, DJ's going to bet 75 here, Alex is going to bet 75. Oh, DJ's not going to continue on.
Yeah, it's a good lay down. The only thing with ace-8, though, I'm just not sure what was he looking for.
Right.
What was he looking to hit there?
I mean, I guess he figured the raise is pretty small, but again, we always talk about ace rag out of position. There's just no way you know if you're good, even if an ace comes.
That's the thing. I mean, I guess he's only looking for either 2-pair or trip 8s.
In which case, he really can't make the call because he's not that deep.
No,
he only has about
not.
600 in front of him.
You know, it's funny. I was talking to my wife because I was playing on the Party Poker account. I was playing the PokerStars account, playing the tournament this weekend, and I had to go out with dogs or whatever for 5 minutes, and I said, oh, play my hands for a little while. So she played, and then afterwards she was asking me some questions about calling raises.
And look at this, Alex. I got to tell you, I make
Go
a
ahead.
gross raise here if I'm Alex. He's raised 3 times in a row here. Now he's picked up aces.
Wow.
I mean, why not raise bigger again? I mean, he's only making it 35 with aces. I got to tell you, when we talk about that is his smallest raise in this game, Dave.
It is.
He makes it 35 again.
I will give him credit that he's made it 35 every single time.
But that standard size raise is just not enough.
Probably a little small. He probably should make it at least 50 in this game.
Hey, that last movie you made, one of the
And Robert Roeder has called here, and so is DJ. And I have a feeling if Robert Roeder flops a 9 with a bunch of undercards, he might go broke.
Well,
over
Robert
here.
actually really likes to push on his draws. We've seen that a number of times as well.
King 3 king here.
Wow, DJ called it a 10-5 suited.
The pot is over $100. It gets checked over to Alex. And he checked it. He checked it. He did not bet. Now, the turn is a deuce. That really raises eyebrows here if I'm those guys up in front.
Yeah, but it's funny. He's not checking a king here. Is he scared of a king? Is he trying to keep the pot small?
I mean, I would almost put him on a king the way that
You
he's
put him on ace-king the way he's playing
now he
it.
bets 40, yeah.
And he's going to take it down. The way he played that hand, you'd almost definitely put him on ace-king.
Yeah.
And funny there, just a 4 on the river wouldn't have changed anything. Anyway, I was going to say, my wife was actually asking me, she was playing it, and she had throwing away a draw. She goes, I hate going for those draws. I never hit them. And she was asking me when it was correct to go for those draws. So, of course, I said, don't you ever watch Live at the Bike?
The other one. The other one.
Button moves over here to Robert Roeder in seat 1. That name kind of gets you on edge, doesn't it?
Robert Roeder. Yeah. Mr. Roeder. Mr. Roeder, yeah, it doesn't work.
Pocket 9's over here for seat 8. That's Greg.
Greg actually, I don't know him, though. I mean, personally, I really don't know the guy.
Well, I don't know him that well. Greg actually passed me a note, and I'll get to it in a second. He has a website dedicated to Omaha 8 or better.
Really?
He's going to raise it up here. He's going to make it 65. And I think he goes by the 2+2 posting name Gregory. Someone handed me a note. Of course, I can't find it.
And Robert Roeder's Robert Roeder's calling this raise with 3-4 of clubs. He only has $400 left.
Now, does he have any money behind Donna? Well, yeah, that is a call that you probably can't make because he just doesn't have enough, right?
He is calling, and how much is the raise?
65.
$65 heads up here with 3-4 of clubs. I got to tell you, if I have 2,000 or 2,500, yeah, that's one thing.
Well, he's flopped a pair. It's an overcard to Greg's hand here. Queen 4-7.
I think Greg's got to bet this. And he's going to put a nice, strong $100 bet out there.
100 to about $140 pot. And Roeder's going to come over the top all in. He's going to come over the top here all in. And it might work. I mean, is this...
I think it's definitely going to work.
You know, this was kind of a question I wanted to ask you, Dave. Can this be considered a form of semi? It was kind of like the hand when I rate. Well, let's see what Greg is going to do here.
I think, it depends on what Robert puts Greg on, but it clearly, and Ronnie points out in our ear, it's a tournament move. Robert just decided for whatever reason, I'm going to play this hand, and I'm going to play it hard.
If anyone watched on Friday, Dave, I bet into Mo with Jack 9 when it was a 9-high board, and Mo raised me. Can it be considered a semi-bluff if I know right now I don't have the best hand, but I come over the top? Because the board was, I think, 9-7-5 with 2 clubs. And he had 2 red queens. So I don't know if you could call it. That is kind of a semi-bluff. I know I don't have the best hand, but I couldn't prove, right?
Yeah, of course. It is. It's the same as a semi-bluff in the sense that, the only time it's just a complete cold bluff is in the sense where you have nothing, no pair, no draw,
right.
No nothing. Even if you have overcards, I'll throw something at you. If you've got, say, like Jack 9 deuce and you have King Queen, well, you've got a gut shot overcards. It's not a real good draw,
right.
But it's definitely a semi-bluff.
Button moves over here to seat 2.
Gregory's going to limp in the ace-6 of spades in late position. You can't blame Gregory. Obviously, he's going to throw it away. He can beat hearts, but that's about it.
Bob Roeder limps in here with Jack 7.
Bob Roeder now. Good old Bobby boy.
Sorry. 4-way action here.
We're going to be on this guy all night, aren't we? Oh, set of deuces for Elvis.
All right, let's see how Elvis is going to play it from up front. He checks it, Dave.
Surprise, surprise.
I don't know if anyone really has anything to bet here. Turns a 5. And now he's going to come out and put some money in there.
50.
And he bets 50 here. He's going to make a pot-sized bet. And no one really had anything there.
DJ's going to call this.
DJ's going to with
he picked up a
5-8.
pair of 5s. And he is drawing dead. He cannot win this pot.
And the river now is a king. If this guy fires again, there is just no way that 5-8 can be good here.
I know we're in the booth. Obviously, it's real easy for us. You don't think this guy could be betting, say... remember, he's in the blind. Couldn't he be betting a 4 there?
Maybe 4
Semi-bluffing?
5. He's going to bet 100.
Couldn't he bet the turn with a 4, thinking, oh, well, nobody else has anything. I'll see if I can take it. How many times if you're in the blind, everybody checks it around, and you go, okay, a 5 looks like it didn't hit anybody. I'll try to take a shot at it. It always seems really easy, and it is up for us, obviously. We can see the cards. But I just start thinking of some hands that I might bet if I'm in the blind there with, say, 10-4. I saw it free. Actually, not 10-4, obviously 10's out there, but let's say I have 9-4. Everybody checks it around. I'm not even thinking about it. Now the 5 comes out. I go, oh, wow, I got picked up a nice straight draw. Okay, I'll bet it. Maybe I can take it down. I get a call, or I go, oh, well, maybe he's not real strong. Maybe I can bet strong.
Especially now when another overcard comes.
Exactly.
You know, it's funny, too, with a lot of these tournament players, we talk about how we don't really like the slow play. And I got to tell you, with some of the stuff you've seen on the online tournaments, I think it's even more prudent to even bet out your hands here in tournaments or in a tournament-style cash game, because they're going to call you. And like you said, they're going to call you with a weak top pair, so why not bet out with your sets?
The only thing once in a while at a tournament I've seen, and I was talking to a couple of tournament players about this, sometimes you can get, let's say you have pocket 9s. I have ace-king, and the flop comes out with a king. If I bet it right out, oftentimes they'll throw away their 9s, but oftentimes if I can just check it one time, it puts enough doubt in their mind that I get a good call. And sometimes those chips are worth taking that chance for. Obviously more of a tournament move than a cash game move.
Limped around here. 5-way action. Ace 10-9 with a couple of spades. This is not really a great flop for anyone here. It looks like pocket 8s are in the lead. Turns a third spade. No one really has a high spade. And it's checked around once again. Well, now DJ's going to bet. And he's betting with absolutely nothing here. But that might get it done. I mean, no one really has anything here. Yeah, that's going to get it done there.
Yeah, it's a pretty ugly flop for 2 8s, huh?
And Kev Math on 2+2, Dave says, why don't you call seat 1 a nit then if he pulls that kind of stuff we were mentioning? Well, I kind of think of the term nit meaning something else, kind of like a nit-type player.
Yeah.
This guy is just kind of an irritating player.
Button moves over to seat number 5. Actually, seat number 4, sorry. Small blinds $5, big blinds $10. I gotta say, it was a lot of fun having the Greek poker god in the booth on Friday night. Doesn't replace you, of course.
Oh, I would hope not.
35. Oh, my kind of
We got a $35 raise here by seat 9.
Yeah, that's Gary. He's got the old king, queen, offsuit. Now, let me ask you this. Would you ever call here? You're in the big blind. It's 25 more to call with an ace-4 of diamonds the big blind.
Well, he makes the call. I mean, these raises are real small.
That's what I'm saying.
Here.
Would you call that? If you're deep enough?
You might.
I mean, he's got about 1,200. Yeah. Maybe you got 1,200 covering him. Well, there it is, ace-4-9.
Ace-4-9. Let's see how Quinn is going to play it here. He checks. And again, if I flop 2 pair there with aces up, I'm going to bet right in and hope the guy has ace-king.
Definitely.
You know, he's going to win money because the guy doesn't have an ace. But I got to tell you, with ace-king, you're going to win more if you bet right out there.
Yeah, right? Some people can make the argument. They go, well, if he bets right into the king-queen's going to throw it away right away.
And now he's going to check call here. He's going to check call, and Gary is virtually drawing dead to a running Broadway straight, and now he is drawing dead. Yeah. And it goes check, check. And the river here is a 9, and now the ace-4 gets counterfeited. And he checks again. And he's going to win there with
And he said,
ace-4.
I thought that was going to kill me, that 9. And that's one of the reasons why I don't like the slow play ace-4 there.
Yeah.
I mean, what happens if a king, a queen, or a jack come off?
And that is a counterfeit, right?
That is definitely a counterfeit. Yeah.
Yeah.
He does not have aces up. He has aces up now, but it's aces and 9s with a 4 kicker.
Interesting email here from Chris Burns, Dr. BB's son. He says, Bart and Dave, for your information, Dr. BB doesn't chat. He has the option turned off. Well, there you go. Maybe it was just coincidence then. And actually, you know, I was Dr. BB wasn't playing. You know, I went back in the archives and I saw Dr. BB. Oh, I think it was the Friday that I was gone to Chicago. I was watching some of the archives, and I saw Dr. BB lay down 2 pair to Mo. Not the Queen 7 I was talking about, but the other, right?
Ace-5 or something like that, yeah.
And Mo had nothing, right?
Nothing at all.
Yeah.
He had some sort of draw.
that must have been flabbergasting.
He had a draw. I remember the flop was like ace-5-4.
That must have been flabbergasting to you, right?
I've come to expect it from Dr. BB sometimes, I swear. But you know what? It works for him.
That's right.
To each their own.
Yeah.
He plays it real tight. He plays it real tight. And he's so patient. And I guess if you have that discipline and the patience and you can just wait, these players they pay him off anyway. It amazes me.
Yeah.
And they're going to chop this up, I think. Alex has got ace-king in the big blind. And now he wants to play. Look at this. Alex just chopped it, but now he looks down, he has ace-king, and now he wants to play. And Clint said, okay, so he threw the chip in there, and then, of course, Alex raised it. And if a player chopped it before, kind of a little heads up, if a player chopped before, and then this time he goes, no, I don't want to chop, you can safely throw your hand away, knowing he's got a monster.
It's called the Oklahoma rule. You either chop or you don't.
You either chop or you don't. It's very unusual to do it.
Oh, it was funny.
No one's going to give you an answer. You look back and say, oh, no, I don't chop.
I never chop.
No?
Unless I really like it.
Oh, then you'll chop.
And you don't look. How about, is there
Just
a
bad
way you
manners, that's all.
Is there a way you can break 3 rules?
Seems like someone has posted in the wrong thread on 2+2.
Oh.
In the January 9th limit thread. You know who the jackass is? Corporation Mike.
That moron thinks he's the best player in the world, and he is just the biggest donkey I've ever seen.
Okay, no more
Oh, hey.
Luckily for us, we're almost 5 months down the line from there. Again, you can email us at live@thebike.com.
Live thread for May 22nd.
Right.
Playing on the water. I've been drinking much water.
Playing on the water.
Now we got a raise here. This is a little bit of out of order. JR is raising it up with Queen 8 offsuit. Not a hand that I'm not sure what the value of raising it with here is. And he makes it $50 to go.
Don't like it?
And that'll probably be enough to take it down.
Well, I mean, the value sometimes in that play is if he has tagged Greg in seat 8 as a tight player, in the fact that if Greg calls and he misses, you might be able to take it down.
Definitely the mini raise we always talk about. I guess JR is thinking that, but we've seen JR a lot where if he misses the flop, he doesn't always follow through with a bet.
Got an email here from Justin Gingerish?
That is Justin Gingrich.
Gingerich.
Although you could be right too, I don't know.
Yeah.
But either way, he's Justin out of Las Vegas.
He said, I enjoyed watching you, Bart, on Friday night. I learned quite a bit on some of the choices you were faced with. My question from Friday was about the bankroll needed to prop at a local casino in Vegas. The game spread of 3-6 to 10-20, no limit. Oh, with no limit at various spreads as well. I was wondering what a good bankroll would be to take this job on a full-time venture. I got to tell you,
he actually, just to get a little heads up, he asked me this question on Friday night, and I told him to send it again today because I couldn't get to it on Friday night, unfortunately.
I think that we should put like a part of like on our website something about bankroll because it seems like we get these questions all the time. I mean, it seems like it's the most common question,
and it's really one of the most difficult questions to ever answer. Now, was there a raise here?
Yeah,
up to $100.
It was limped around, and it was limped around pretty much every player, and now Gary is going to raise it out of the blind with pocket sevens here.
And that's once again more of a tournament play there. You're risking 100 to win 50, actually 60. You're risking 100 to win 60. With pocket sevens, I got to tell you, I want to see a flop.
Now, you think at what point though can you raise to pick up that dead money where your hand is strong enough? I know I've done it with his hand as weak as ace jack suited in that spot. Could you do it with pocket nines?
Yeah, you can do it with any of those hands,
right.
But to me it's a matter of risk and reward. Oftentimes what I would rather do is, let's say somebody makes one of those kind of stop raises, like let's say they normally raise at $80 with a big hand, but they make a raise of like 35, and now you get 4 callers in there. So now suddenly there's $140 of dead money in there. Well, now I put in a $180 raise. It can really be with any 2 cards. You're playing with players and not playing your own hands.
So you're folding.
Button moves over here to seat 8.
I mean, to me, it's always a matter of risk and reward. Do I really want to risk $100 to win 50?
Look at JR limping with king 8 offsuit here in mid position. And it's been limped around. We haven't really seen an opening raise for more than 50. I can tell you, usually my standard raise in this game is anywhere from 55 to 70.
Right. Well, you're
the
talking
stack
about
sizes that I usually play.
Yeah, once again, you're talking about tournament players that normally only raise it 3 times the big blind.
3.5 times the big blind, right? 5-way action here.
And I was going to say, most of these players are not used to playing deep stack poker in the sense they usually only get, say, 30 or 40 times the big blind.
Now, Elvis is going to come out and lead here with the bottom end of an open-ended straight draw. With 9-10, he bets 45 into a pot that's about 60.
Yeah, he gets Greg to lay down a queen there.
Not a bad lay down, Dave.
No, not at all.
Play up
Queen
and down
deuce.
suited.
Yeah. Anyway, I mean, to answer Justin's question, obviously it's really difficult to ever answer a bankroll question without knowing somebody's specific situation. It kind of depends on how much they're paying you, obviously, and what your situation is. Are you living at home? Do you have a mortgage? Do you have a wife? Do you have kids?
How much liquid money you have.
Exactly.
Now, it's interesting, in a hand like that, it's almost a catch-22, Greg, with queen, deuce, and diamonds. That's why up and down suited are so hard to play, even in position. A hand as weak as queen, deuce, I think it's actually a raise or a fold. And when you look at it, you don't really want to raise because I don't really want to put any more money in it, so it becomes more of a fold. But I don't think you can just call. It's real tough, right? It's just...
I mean, I guess, the only time you want to play that hand is you're not playing the hand, you're playing the players that are in the pot. And let's say the people in the blind or the guy who's limped in, they're all real tight or real predictable. Well, then you can play it.
I mean, I would almost go so far as to say I raise if I'm going to play that hand once, and then I take 2 cards and just hope to show it down. Raise the flop to get 2 cards, check, check.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Something like that. Alex is racing here with ace-queen.
I mean, once in a while, if I'm in a real passive, tight game, I'll raise on the button with any 2 cards. I'll raise sometimes without even looking at my cards.
Right.
And if they check to me, I'll put out a continuation bet, and more often than not, I'll take it down. But in that case, hey, I could have deuce 7, I could have pocket aces, or I could have queen deuce. I'm not playing the cards anyway. Now, Justin, just to help you out, I will say, if I was you, I would kind of try to figure out what my monthly needs are, how much money you need per month to live the way you live. Multiply that by 6 months, and make sure you have that put away first. And then you can start, and then you can be a prop, obviously. From that would be a good starting point, I think, before you even prop. So that way, if you do run bad for a month, you're not going to be killing yourself. We always say it's really tough to play when you're playing with scared money.
Limped around here 3 ways.
I do it quite well, Ronnie. Mom always said, don't play with your rent money.
Ace-3 queen here with a couple of diamonds. He's going to get checked around to Clinton. He's going to throw a little bet out there with nothing. If there's ever a board, Dave, that you might actually fire into with absolutely nothing, we're not big proponents of dry bluffing or whatever you want to call it, that might be one when there's an ace out there and no one's shown a lot of strength, because you might get a guy with a queen to lay that down, obviously.
Well, one of my favorite plays, actually, in the tournament, and it seemed to work really well, I was playing the tournament online this weekend, was if somebody limped in from late position or even limped in from middle position, and I was in the blind, let's say I called them, or I would just checked it, and an ace or a queen would come out, I would bet right into them, and they'd more often than not throw it away.
Because usually they're going to raise in a tournament with an ace there in that spot.
Exactly.
Early limp here by seat 6, and I got to tell you, limped in with 7-5 of clubs in early position. I found myself doing this afternoon, and when I'm doing that, it's usually I'm playing a little impatient because those cards are so hard to play out of position.
And you and I had a long conversation about being impatient. You wonder if sometimes playing before our show kind of lends to us playing a little bit more impatient, because we do have a deadline of, we've got to finish by 6:30.
Yeah. Well, Greg is going to raise it up here. He's going to make it 60 with king, queen offsuit.
And that's his customary raise right there, about $60.
Now, this is what you love, and this is the bad part about limping in with 7-5 of clubs. I mean, look at this. Clint is calling here, but how much money does Greg have in front of him, Dave?
Yeah, he's got about a little over $400.
Oh, man. I mean, that is...
And Alex is going to throw away Jack 9 of spades.
I mean, to play that hand on a position against a guy who's not deep is just trouble, right?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense at all.
Ace, deuce, 6 here with a couple hearts. Clint checks. I assume Greg is going to throw in a little continuation bet, and he's probably going to take it down here.
Yeah.
In 5-7 of clubs, has missed everything.
Now, it's funny, if you're deep enough, 7-5 of clubs, if I'm on the button and you get a fairly predictable player to raise it early position, 7-5 of clubs is a hand I want to call in position. Not out of position, though.
And Greg takes it down there with the half pot size bet. I mean, the other thing, too, when you're looking at your stack, and I found myself doing this, because I'd actually had a hand that we'll talk about later on in the week where I actually flopped the higher set against Guy's lower set and ended up getting outplayed. Then I found myself kind of pushing, and I'll limp in with 4-5 of clubs, and I have maybe 1,300 in front of me, and now there's a raise to 60, Dave, and 2 people call, and now I'm out of position. I don't necessarily really have the odds. I'm not getting, I mean, I guess I can make 20 to 1 or so, but it's a real stretch to play that hand, even with people in the middle there.
It also puts you in a tough spot. Okay, let's say you hit your hands. Well, now you're in first position. Okay, do you want to bet right into them? They might throw it away. Do you want to check raise them? It's just a lot harder. When you're out of position, usually your wins are smaller and your losses are bigger than if you're in position.
Now, Clint is straddled here in seat 6, and he's picked up pocket kings in the straddle spot.
Seems to happen to so many people, doesn't it? Pocket 6 is for Gary, and he's going to limp in.
Limp in seat 9.
This is kind of a smallish 5-10 game. Smallish 500
Yeah,
game.
it is.
Probably only about $8,000 or $9,000 on the table.
Now, Elvis limps in, and JR is going to call. Now, when Clint raises here with kings, Gary's going to have to take into account, obviously, he is in position to the raiser. He has position on the rest of the opponents. He's going to make it 100. Now,
100 more.
It looks like Clint has maybe 900 or 1,000 in front of him. Gary had him covered, but again, you want to start running through the hands. Is Clint the type of player that might raise with nothing on the straddle spot, right?
Yeah, that's the whole point. If you know he has aces or kings here, you probably can call, because if you hit your hand, you're going to win a big pot. I got to say, with the dead money in behind me, and I have position on the entire field,
yeah,
I'd probably call with 6s.
Look at this. JR's going to call with 7-10 offsuit when he's got 300 left.
Yeah.
25% of his stack.
Actually, that's Elvis.
Oh, excuse me, that's Elvis.
I was going to say that. JR. That can't be JR.
Flop comes ace 5-10, and he
Elvis
moves in. He's going to move in with on the 10. Wow. I got to tell you, though.
You wonder if Elvis was going to say, he said, okay, if I get anything, I'm moving in.
We tell you, though, how it's actually proper to play a hand with an ace here as a check raise if you're Elvis. If this guy had an ace, would he bet right out the 300 here?
I don't know. I mean, I wish I knew Elvis better. I don't know. And that's the question, obviously, Clint is wondering. Yeah. If this guy had an ace, why wouldn't he check raise it?
Commit myself. And that's because we sometimes talk about it's proper to do that with ace-king or ace-queen here if you made
Well,
that
in this
call.
case, yeah, if he called with ace-queen here,
yeah,
you'd imagine why not let Clint bet, say, $150, $200. Right. Then you move all in, and Clint can't get away from his kings.
And we don't want to confuse everybody because it's kind of the opposite of what we preach. But when the stack sizes are in this particular situation, like they normally are in a restricted buying game, it actually is kind of proper to play it in that way backwards.
Well, if you think about it, let's say Elvis had ace-king here, not 9-10.
Right.
Well, now you're letting Clint off the hook.
Right.
But if you check to him, you're going to force him to put all his money in there. Now, if you're much deeper, though, I think this is the exact way to play.
Right, obviously. But again, because they're short.
That's funny. I mean, would you call with those pocket 6s there? I know it's probably close, but I got to tell you, I probably do, especially with the 20. There was already $80 dead in there.
That's close.
I'd say it's 180 in the pot, 100 to call. I'm already getting 2 to 1 plus implied odds. And if I call, it might bring in somebody else as well. And it's turned out that Elvis was going to call anyway.
Elvis called for a clock, and Clint made the call. Now, Elvis is kind of doing this as a semi-bluff. And he has a spade in his hand. He's got a lot of outs, but he does not hit. He could have called a 9, a 10, or a spade.
Yep.
But kings are good there.
Yep, and Clint's going to win it.
You know, it's funny, too. I often sometimes feel, Dave, when I make a call with a pocket pair and I hit my set,
yeah,
I feel that I have actually, even though I win the hand, I have actually lost out on some equity if I don't make 10 times the raise amount.
Definitely.
Do you see what I mean? Because it's almost like I shouldn't have called in the first place.
Oh, of course, you've got to look at it that way. I mean, we always talk about expected value. If you talk to a professional poker player and you talk about, and this might get a little complicated, so stay with me here. Let's say, for example, you're giving somebody 1.5 to 1 on their flush draw with 1 card to come, and they call you anyway, and they hit it, and you don't give them any implied odds. Well, you've actually made money on that play. You've made it. On that play, you've made money. Because if you're playing on an hourly rate thing, every hour you're playing poker, you're making money, whether you're winning or losing. And I hope that makes sense to people.
So again, when you are playing a pocket pair and you make your hand, if you don't make at least 10 times the raise amount, you've actually lost out pretty much in the long run.
In a sense, yeah.
Yeah. Unless, of course, you factor in you also outplay the guy.
Yeah, now, obviously there are
Right.
times where you can outplay the guy. Now, let's say, for example, the guy had sixes there. Let's say he calls him in position. He didn't hit his set, right? Now, let's say the first guy checks it because he's scared of two people. He checks his kings also, or even bets his kings.
Right.
And this guy thinks he's weak. Maybe he can re-raise him and take him off it.
Right.
Putting him on kings or queens.
Button here, Elvis is going to raise with pocket deuces. He's going to make it, looks like 60 to go. And DJ is going to call him with queen jack offsuit out of position. And again, seat 4 does not that deep. I don't think either of those guys should have called that raise.
John in there with king 9 of clubs. I got to tell you, I don't like that hand at all. And Elvis has got a set.
And look at this. And what a great board to bet into if you're the pre-flop raiser. And I have a feeling, Dave, that he's going to check it. How do I know? Let's see what Elvis does. This is the perfect board, again, when we talk about to build yourself a pot. Play a big hand with this hand because you've got a great hand.
Well, look at this. John is going to bet it for him. Now, Elvis is actually rebought for, it looks like $500.
Yeah.
He's got about $450 left. And I think that John has bet 75 into about $150 pot. And he's going to raise right away.
Okay.
And he makes the minimum raise, it looks like.
Oh, he's going to make it 200.
200 straight.
Now, obviously, you can see that John has nothing here. He was just betting as a bluff. Now, this is a little bit of a different situation, but again, if you're the pre-flop raiser and you flop something big with that board, I think it's almost criminal not to bet in position on the flop.
I agree.
Because you're expecting people to make a move on you. You're expecting them maybe to call with a hand as weak as an 8 or a 7, right?
Oftentimes, players, if you're the pre-flop raiser, players are checking to you, expecting you to bet,
right? So
they can check raise. Now, if you've actually flopped a monster and you raise, give them the chance to check raise you. You've got to put money in the pot.
Interesting. Someone, I think it was Kevin Math, said that Surf and Illini are buddy. Oh, let's take a look at a chip count here.
Yeah, it's 7,000 on the table. 1,500 for Clint. He's got the table covered. Now, Gary's got about 1,200. And Alex has got over 1,000. And we'll keep track of Mr. Roeder there, Bob. He's got 600.
Jean-Robert Roeder.
No, you can't even put them in the same category. We met Jean-Robert. He's a great guy. I mean, let's see how they're doing. Alex is up 550. Clint up 500. Gary up $175. And the rest of the table is down.
Seat 9 is going to make it 40 to go here in second position. He's got ace-king offsuit.
I mean, after meeting Jean-Robert, Bellond, I mean, he was a really nice guy, actually.
Yeah, I mean, he seemed that way.
I got to tell you, all the stuff that I heard about...
he's a little bit cocky, though, Dave.
Hey, I got to tell you, there's nothing wrong with being cocky. Most people that are successful in their field, I mean, Michael Jordan's a cocky guy. Charles Barkley, I mean, these guys are all cocky. Why wouldn't he be cocky? He's a good poker player.
Interesting post here, referring to a post that Surf and Illini put over in the brick and mortar section of 2+2 regarding how there's a rule at Mirage: if two people chop the blinds once, they can't play the hand out. It's only the two of them have to.
Wow.
Interesting.
Okay.
Of course, we saw that between
kind of
7 and
protects
6.
the players, I guess.
Where am I going? He's got pocket kings, he flips a king.
It's tough it's really tough to enforce, though, in the sense that you get a new dealer every 30
nobody
minutes.
knows.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like, you chopped it before, you can't do it now. No, I didn't. What are you talking about?
It'd be almost one of those things where they call the floor man over, and then it's almost like the players come to a consensus. And I've seen that before. Because sometimes the dealers, I got to be honest with you, they're clueless. And they will go to the players and say what really happened here.
Well, more often than not, the players know exactly what's going on when the dealers don't.
Right.
We're lucky at Live to Bike. We have the cream of the crop here.
We do indeed. And Sierra is in the booth right now.
Yeah.
She's been dealing for over 15 years. Now, JR is going to raise it up here with king-queen offsuit in the cutoff, Dave.
Now, this kind of raise I like a lot better than the queen-8 offsuit.
And Roeder's going to call here with an ace-7 of clubs against JR's raise, Dave. Very difficult to play and win a big hand out of position.
Out of position, yeah. Well,
how about trip 7s? Let's see how Bobby's going to play it here.
But he's not going to win any money, though, is he?
He checked it looked like, from up front. And JR took the card. Well, JR is caught up. He's hit the king. Well, and now Robert's going to bet into him. And that might raise a little bit of eyebrows. He's going to bet 100 here. And
how about king?
JR is going to call.
King.
Yeah!
The river
rivers a king, and Rotor checks. And JR is going to bet. Oh, wow.
And is Rotor going to call this?
He's going to bet 250 here.
Rotor's got to know he's beat here, doesn't he? He's got to know he's beat here now.
The guy's betting on some sort of busted diamonds or something.
Come on, it's JR. So clearly he got there on the turn with a king, didn't he? No, JR Rotor's going to throw this away. He's got to throw this away.
I got to give Robert Rotor credit, though. So many times people might fall into that trap where they have ace-7. Now they've checked the flop. Now what they do is they check the turn, expecting the guy to bet on a scare card. But if you check raise the turn, a good player should get away from a king there. Yeah. But instead he comes out and bets, and he gets a call from JR. And now he can bet again on the river.
Oh, right? Yeah, Rotor played it well, I got to tell you. I don't mind the way Rotor played that at all.
Email here from Dr. Richard Asimov. He says, "Hi guys, I found the stakes in the webcasts tonight, especially because of the level of players, which seems not weak but not too expert or wild, such as the $1,000 game, provides the best educational and entertainment value."
Richard, I got to agree with you. It's actually Dr. Dick there. He said, I got to agree with him. I really like this game. Sometimes our $1,000 game, while it's really entertaining, it becomes so crazy, like Carlos's game on Friday night, became so crazy that it was just pure entertainment. There was very little educational value in it.
Yeah. Four-way action here. Limped around. Ace, Jack, King on the flop.
Yeah,
well, JR's got a weak ace, not the flop you were looking for with ace-3.
No, not really. Now Clint's also got a weak ace. Ace-9.
I got to tell you, if I was in Clint's spot, I would fold here. I would fold here. Now he has the best hand, and he's going to call. And again, I think that with ace-9, if I'm going to play there, I think it's almost a raise or a fold situation on that flop, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's not much of a draw, but if somebody's got, say, king-queen or jack-10, they might stick around.
Turns a jack. And JR's going to continue to fire. And this one's going to get chopped up here, unless Clint hits a 9 on the river.
I got to tell you, at this point, I'm definitely out of the hand, because now I can really... I'm hoping for a chop. That's all I'm hoping for.
Yeah. I mean, by JR taking the initiative to bet, if I'm in Clint's spot, I fold on the flop, and now, like you said, I'm not going to continue to call off money for a chop
I can't beat a jack. Yeah. I can't beat an ace. I can't beat ace-king. And he throws it away, and that's a good laydown.
Got an email here from Dave Porcellino. Is that a good shot? I really butcher these last names.
Porcellino.
Yeah. Says, hey guys, TJ Cloutier advocates raising the same amount every time, say 3 times pre-flop, to disguise the strength of your hand and not give anything away. How do you feel about the strategy in tournaments versus cash games, and why?
Yeah, we've gotten into this before, but we'll throw this at you. I'm getting all cut up now. It's driving me nuts. Anyway, shut up, okay? You over there, Techie man, yeah, he's throwing stuff at me. You guys betting? Anyway, in a tournament...
I disagree with him, by the way. You can keep saying it.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
If you want my
See, I think in a tournament, I really like raising. To me, I like raising like 2.5 times the big blinds, maybe 2-3 times, because I think you want a lot more action in tournaments. I think you want to build up your stack, but I think in a cash game, because you're so much deeper in relation to the blinds, I don't think 3 times is enough to protect your stack.
There's no way that someone can tell me that a blanket statement by Barry Greenstein or by TJ Cloutier saying raising the same amount 3 times the big blind. There's no way someone's going to tell me that Barry Greenstein's going to sit in this game and be $1,500 or $2,000 deep and raise to 30, and that's going to be his standard raise regardless of the situation.
Yeah.
No way.
Well, how about if he's in this game, if he's playing this game because for whatever reason it's the biggest game that's here,
right?
But there's a couple of big shooters in there, and he's got $10,000,
right?
And somebody else is $8,000,
yeah.
and Michael Mizrachi's in the game with $22,000.
Right.
You're going to make it $30 to go?
Right.
No, of course not. I got to tell you, if you're going to make it $30 to go, and I know you have aces, I'm going to call you at any 2 cards.
6-way action here, limped around in a straddle pot, so it's a $120 pot. And the flop comes out 10-9-5.
Alex is open-ended here with the backdoor clubs, with overcards.
Well, DJ is going to come out, and he's going to lead for 75 into a $120 pot with King 10. He's got top pair.
Now, Alex's hand is strong enough here where he has a couple of choices. He could smooth call it, see the turn for cheap, or he could raise it right now, maybe take it down. but definitely get himself a free card if he wants to. Put some pressure on the initial bettor. Alex obviously weighing his options here.
Again, from up front, even a hand as weak as top pair, even if it's a good kicker, I don't know if you continue on if Alex raises you here.
Well, I mean, what would you do here if you're in Alex's spot? Obviously, makes a lot of different moves here, but you definitely can raise this.
Absolutely. And he's asking him how much he has.
And once Gary folds his hands, you'll see that Alex and DJ are probably close to 50-50 here.
355 to be exact.
He's trying to figure out how much the guy has. He's asking him how much he has left. And the question now is there fold equity to raise? Will the guy fold if he has got 355 left here with King 10? Well, he's just going to call.
And the card you're really rooting for if you're Alex is a king, giving DJ 2 pair.
Now, in this case, though, Dave, that call might be strong enough to get him a free card anyways.
Definitely.
The guy might check to him anyways here on the turn. Well, the turn's a 4. Well, DJ moves in here. He's going to move in.
And now you can't call. Now you've got to throw away your queen jack. Now you really can't call. DJ's pretty sure he has the best hand. If he doesn't have the best hand, he wants to put Alex to the test.
Pot is about $650, $350 to call. And Alex gets away from it there. Email here from Jared Pondelik. He said, just wondering if Bart could go into detail about Friday's game and how he played. Was that the normal amount of hands you play on average? Did it seem like I was playing tight there, Dave? I mean, I think with that lineup, it was proper to play tight.
Yeah.
But I didn't really, I mean, you saw the hands that I was picking up with my stack size, right? It just...
You got some good hands. I mean, you probably played about, I want to say probably played about 8 to 10 hands.
Yeah.
I guess part of the problem was, and when George was in the booth, we were talking about it, when you get somebody like Carlos in the game, especially when he's steaming a little bit and he's raising every single pot, it gets to the point where there's really no value into playing it tricky.
Plus,
you're really just going to play it straightforward.
Plus, you know, as you always say, if you've got Corporation Mike to your left, it almost keeps you more honest because you're not going to be seeing that many flops. So it forces you to tighten up because
Definitely.
you can't necessarily limp in with suited connectors because it's, 50% of the time it's going to be raised from back there.
Exactly. I mean, do you really want to limp in? Let's say you're 2 off the button and Corporation Mike is on the button, and you've got a hand that's kind of interesting, say 7-6 suited.
Yeah.
But you know if you limp in for $20, Corporation Mike is going to make it $120. Well, now do you really want to call a $120 raise out of position? Probably not.
I mean, the only hand, I got to tell you, the only hand that I thought that I could have played a little bit better was the hand against Barry, but he almost paralyzed me with the size of the river bet. And we know Barry, if he has aces up there, Dave, and I move in, I still think he calls. And that's,
I thought he might call with just second pair.
Right. So
now, it turns out he had third pair, but how do you know that?
Right. I think he was betting on the river because he thought he didn't have the best hand.
And now DJ takes us down here with bottom pair.
He was trying to use it as a scare card. If anyone, again, we talked about, I had a double gutter on the flop, Jack 10-7 with King 9, and an ace fell on the river, and I could definitely have represented King Queen. I just didn't think I was deep enough.
Yeah, you know,
to really
the
do
way
anything.
Barry was playing that night, specifically, I don't know. I mean, he was just playing it so tight. There was a good chance he had top pair. There was a good chance maybe he had made aces up.
Right.
But I thought top pair was probably the most likely hand you could put him on. And in that case, I don't know if there's any value to raising him there.
Because he might not fold, right?
Yeah, we always talk about there are players you want to bet for value. There are players you can bluff off of a hand. That's not the one.
Right.
You want to be bluffing out.
Now, Greg has got pocket aces here. Now, if I was playing against, say, Kenny Wynn heads up, I think I might make that move.
Kenny Wynn, you raise Kenny Wynn, he's folding unless he has aces up.
Right. And he might fold even if he has aces up.
He might specifically put you on king, queen.
Because you can logically put me on king, queen, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
We always talk about it. I go, I'm not going to try to make a living bluffing, like, say, Allen out.
Greg has raised it up here to 45. He's got aces. And JR limped him with Jack 5 of hearts from up front. He is not going to play.
Thanks, Chicken Tender. Said nice call, the 2-outer by Tuck. King. Not quite the premonition of a 2-4-6 flop, but still impressive nonetheless.
Post here by Johnny. He says, wow, no love for seat 1. Okay, I'll root for the guy. I guess that makes me a rooter.
Said, yes, that was gay.
Yeah. Do you have your bluffing shoes on tonight, Dave?
I don't. I've got my my shit-kicking, mud-slinging boots on. It rained here yesterday and today, this morning.
Boy, the weather has really been cool here. It really has not gotten hot. I looked on weather.com. In Vegas, it's like 105.
It warmed up in the afternoon, though.
Did it?
Yeah.
I didn't get above 75 by where I was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Up in the mountains, up to 90 today.
Really? Well, of course, you live in the valley.
I don't really consider Burbank the valley. I gotta tell you.
DJ's going to raise it here to 60. He's got ace-king offsuit. Now, JR's got 9-10 suited.
Out of position, though.
a little
DJ's on the
surprised.
button. I don't play it. See, out of position, I don't want to play that hand.
Remember, so many things have to happen. He has to be raising with a real hand. He has to hit his hand. You have to hit your hand.
And you got to look at the checklist of going, I'm out of position. Do I really want to play heads up with this hand?
Ace, queen, jack here.
Well, now you're open-ended, but 2 hearts out there, and if the king comes, it's kind of obvious. Are you really going to get paid off?
He's got backdoor spades. He's open-ended. And it goes check, check. Ace-king did not bet. And the turn is an 8. And JR makes the straight.
It is the 3rd heart out there, but DJ does not have the straight here. And for some reason, there's still 7%. Why is it 7%? Help me out. Oh, a 10 comes. I'm sorry.
Yeah, 10 for
10 comes,
higher
straight comes, yeah.
You know what? I don't care about the hearts. In this particular case, if I'm JR, I bet, I hope this guy has a set and he still played a set on the flop.
Yeah, I think you have to bet this. I mean, would the guy really check, say, king, queen of hearts? I'm trying to think of, like, hearts that he might check.
He bets 100 here. And was JR trying to set this play up to move in on the turn? I mean, is ace-king offsuit, DJ. Is ace-king offsuit really that? Wow, and he gets away from it. Wow. Very, very peculiar hand, Dave. I was going to say, is ace-king offsuit a strong enough hand to slow play on that flop?
No, I mean, you know what? I'm going to just think about this here. Is there any way DJ actually thought, he goes, you know what, I have ace-king here. I can't really beat anything that this guy would call a raise with.
Yeah.
Maybe he knows JR's play, and he goes, well, I can't beat jacks. I can't beat queens. I also can't beat ace-jack or ace-queen now.
Yeah.
And he's just going to check and fold. I mean, it's a real passive way to play ace-king, obviously, but maybe that was going through his head. Clint is going to straddle this up.
And JR's got aces in the big blind.
Yeah.
Wow.
With little green book guy, big tall, Phil Gordon, and then he went all in too. He had a 3-way all in at the end of the game. Did you straddle this again?
And JR's going to raise it up here, Dave.
Oh, this is an easy raise spot. You've got $90 of dead money in the pot already. I think you can easily call a 10, make it 90 more, make it 100 total more, make it 110 for anybody to call you, and that's what it looks like he's going to do. He actually makes it 120 to go. And I don't think anybody's going to call. Now, this is a case where I might call with more of a speculative hand, though. If I have enough money and if, say, JR has enough money. Now, because I'm in position on him, and I can pretty much, I know he's got either aces or kings, knowing JR.
Interesting email here from Michael Feineman, Dave. I'll sum it up. He's a little bit confused about us talking about how sometimes it's proper to slow play in restricted bind games, whereas in no-limit, uncapped games, it's not proper to slow play. And again, I don't want to confuse everybody out there, but it's specifically in a case where if you are calling a pretty significant raise and you only have a little bit left to the flop, if you hit something on the flop, you might check raise all in or check call all in as opposed to bet out. That's the only kind of case we're talking about, right?
Well, I mean, a good rule of thumb might be think about how much money you have or how much money your opponent has. And if you have a big hand, you want to try to get as much of that money and as much of his money into the pot.
Right.
Now, if you're both pretty deep, you can't slow play it too much because you've got to build that pot.
Right.
If you want to win a big pot, you've got to build it. But let's say one of you is a little short. Well, then there's no urgency to build the pot, and you can slow play a little bit.
You're just trying to get all the money in at some point.
Exactly. That's kind of a rule of thumb. And that really goes for either a restricted game or an unrestricted game. It's really...
Depending on stack sizes.
Exactly.
Obviously. Got a $30 bet here by DJ. He's got a pair of threes. And wow, JR is going to call with a gut shot wheel draw with 2 clubs. I mean, this is a new looser JR, Dave. Really changing up his game. It turns a queen. And he checks, and DJ's going to fire once again. And that's it.
Email here from Charles McLanis. Says, hey guys, can you explain straddling and what is the straddle position? Thanks, and keep up the great work. Well, thanks for the email, Charles. Straddle, actually, if you want to check it out, go to our website. Go to www.liveatthebike.com. On the left-hand side, there's a section called As Seen on Live at the Bike. And in that section, we talk about we actually define a lot of the terminology that Bart and I use on the show. And straddling is in there. So check it out. If you still don't understand it, send us another email, and we'll try to help you out. Button moves over to seat number 5.
Only collection.
Oh, collection.
And seat number 2. Seat number 2, DJ is going to raise it with. He makes it $50 to go with what I think is a really nice blackjack hand. He's got 8-3. Double down with DJ. But he's going to raise this up. Not really. I don't see any value in this in a cash game. I really don't. If you have 8-6 suited, 8-7, 9-8, okay. 8-3, I just don't see any value. If you get called, well, I mean, I guess you're just playing the player. You're really not playing your cards at all. And sometimes you can do it if the blinds are real passive and real tight. Kind of take advantage of them. Nice email here from Lance. Says, hey guys, finally heard Bart on Rounders. It was a good show, but I enjoyed you guys better on the circuit. He said he found Rounders to be a bit too much focused on poker celebrities. I spent the last few years playing Limit Hold'em, starting to transition into No Limit, trying to expand my game. Do you have any advice on hand selection when moving from Limit to No Limit? And at emails from Lance, and I'll get to it in a second. Got a limp in here from John, seat number 3. JR is going to toss his $10 in there, Clint as well, and Alex. And we're going to see this 5 ways, $50 pot to the flop. Queen 7-4, all diamonds out there, and Alex has got the ace of diamonds. And we always talk about that's a nice board to actually push. Not necessarily push your whole stack in there, but you can definitely make a bet with a board like that because obviously it looks scary to you. It's going to look scary to your opponents as well. Even if somebody has, say, Queen 10 and they're both black cards, it's tough for somebody to really make a stand. Now, Greg's going to take a shot at it. He's picked up a pair on the turn. He also has the 8 of diamonds. And he's going to call. He's going to actually bet, I'm sorry. Alex, with the ace of diamonds, did not bet the flop and did not bet the turn. And you wonder if he's going to call this with the nut flush draw. And at this point, I just don't think there's much value to calling this. In No Limit, I mean, I really like to go for draws that are well hidden. Pot is about $100. River is a 10 of hearts. And is Alex going to take a shot at it? Nah, Alex is not going to take a shot at it. You imagine Greg is just going to check behind him. Not much value to betting this. Unless you put Alex on a weak queen. Wow, maybe he thinks he needs to bet this. I mean, I'm almost sure he's not betting this for value. I don't think he thinks he can get a call from a 7. Maybe he thinks he can get a weak queen off there, or maybe he thinks maybe Alex backed into a 10. Doesn't want him to get called. Either way, Greg takes it down. Anyway, I was going to say, to me, Limit Hold'em is a much more pre-flop game, where hand selection really is important. You've got to look at the hands. You know, you're really playing position. You're really looking to play big cards, I think. I think small pocket pairs, I think suited connectors are actually not nearly as valuable in Limit Hold'em as they are in No Limit Hold'em. No Limit Hold'em to me is a much more of a post-flop game, and the more you play, I think, the more you realize that. Button moves over to seat number 7. Rotor is under the gun, first act.
Dave, I just went out to the floor. There are 3 other 500 No Limit games going beside this game.
Man.
I think I'm going to stay around tonight.
Gotta.
These next 2 weeks are going to be great here at the show.
Okay, wifey, don't stay up for me.
Ace Queen here for JR, 1 off the cutoff. Some people like to call that the hijack spot.
1 off the cutoff? Hijack? I like that.
Could be wrong.
And I assume JR is probably going to make it at least 55 or 60 here from C5.
Amazingly, I've never heard of that.
Really?
The hijack. Hijack,
Especially
cutoff.
since you've mentioned on this show many times.
Have we? I just probably wasn't listening to you.
Yeah, see. Nothing's changed there,
No.
I guess. He's going to make it 50 to go here, Dave. Now, I wonder if JR would make it 50 to go with aces or kings here as well, or if he would make it bigger.
Everyone limps in. I'm the gun that I have to.
Greg is going to call with sixes.
No, I don't mind. I mean, pocket pairs you can play out of position. It's pretty much set or not. And Rotor's going to call this with Jack-7 spades. Wow. I got to tell you, Jack-7 is one of my least favorite hands. Remember, it can never make the nut straight.
$200 pot to the flop. Well, there's the ace, and JR here has flopped the best hand.
If you think about it, if an 8, 9, 10 come out there, you have a straight, but it's not the nut. Somebody could easily have Jack-Queen.
And he's going to bet 100 here.
No, I did that after he bet. After he bet.
And you wonder, would Rotor have gotten involved if, say, it came out Jack-7, not Jack-7 here, I'm sorry, like Jack-Deuce-3? Does he get involved with just top pair there? Yeah, it's an easy laydown for Rotor, and JR's going to take it down. You know, that DeLance was talking about hand selection, and I was wondering if you had anything to add to that. He's making the move from limit hold'em to no limit hold'em. And one thing I was saying was, in terms of how limit hold'em was a much more pre-flop game, while no limit game is more of a post-flop game. Also, I was saying, I think no limit hold'em even more so. Really look for excuses not to play hands out of position, and look for excuses to play hands in position. If you start with that, I think it's a good starting point.
I agree with you. I think that you almost can never be too tight in limit. As I see pocket aces here for the Rotor.
We've gotten aces like what?
Yeah.
6 times in an hour?
Let's see how Fan Man is going to play it here in suit 1.
Fan Man. Good old Bob. You ever see that movie, that awful movie, What About Bob?
Yeah. Oh, you didn't like that?
Actually, I enjoyed it. It was, I guess, mildly amusing.
Baby steps, baby steps, baby steps.
It's only because I like him, you know.
So let's see what Bobby's going to do here in seat 1.
And the Rotor's going to raise. It's the Roto raise.
He's going to make it 50 more. Now, if you're JR, though, it looks like Rotor doesn't have much. Can we get maybe a head on? Yeah, he's got, what, 300?
No, it's an easy laydown,
I don't think JR can call here.
Well, it's 50 more, you said?
Yeah, 50 more. He's only got 320 in front of him.
And how much is the original raise?
There was no original
raise.
raise.
Oh, it was?
Yeah.
So it's 50 more. Actually, I got to tell you, the pot's got about 50 in there. The pot's laying me 2-1, plus I have position on the guy.
Yeah, but you know what, Dave? I mean, to call with Jack-10 offsuit there.
Nah, you're right. Rotor doesn't have enough money.
Yeah, it's real. I mean, that is the power of the short stack, because people really can't call your raises.
Yeah. And you see Robert, it seems like he really likes playing the short stack game.
And Lance also was talking about heard Bart on Rounders.
Yeah.
But the show was better on the circuit.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, of course, you know, Rounders show, I really only spoke with those guys for about 15 minutes, Dave. The circuit was really, I mean, Scott Huff told us that a lot of people really enjoyed us on the circuit. Hopefully we're going to be able to do that again. Because I think sometimes the circuit just becomes almost like a celebrity poker interview, which, you know, I don't necessarily know what Scott Huff, I think he doesn't have a problem with that, but people are sometimes going there to try to hear a little bit of strategy. And a lot of these high-level tournament guys just don't give really any out. They're just kind of...
Well, they got to realize that the funny thing is most of the people that are actually going on cardplayer.com to listen to the circuit are poker junkies that want to improve their game.
Right.
I don't think they really care about what celebrity played in what tournament.
Elvis is raised here with ace-queen suited, and he's going to take it down.
Nice email here from Michael. He says his subject is show evolution. He says, hola. Just curious how you guys feel about the current state of the show. The recent video effect upgrades were huge. Nice work. What features are you guys working on, and what features do you think would help the show most? Well, we've got a lot of things in the works, but we're not allowed to talk about them because our producer and our technical director will not let us. But
well, I'm going to talk about one that we talked about in the meeting.
I'm not allowed to. Don't.
I'm not going to necessarily say it's going to be this week, but we're going to start doing, whether it's in a week or 2 weeks, kind of a video blog.
That's it. He did it. I quit. I'm out of here. You quit too? Okay, good. You're here alone, Bart.
A vlog.
A vlog.
Where we're actually just going to be in here, you and I, on camera in the booth, talking about certain hands we played that week and talking about strategy questions through emails and hopefully maybe have some card overlays on the screen to help people follow along with what we're talking about. Because oftentimes, Dave, will say, I played a hand this afternoon. It's very difficult for the viewers to follow along with a hand that we're trying to describe.
No, definitely. It's difficult for me to follow along when you're describing a hand because you've really got to be focused on what's going on.
Now look at this. Greg has raised it to 60 with pocket nines, and Roeder here, again, he's making a huge call with his stack size with 8-9 of clubs here. He is on the button. But, I mean,
he doesn't have enough money to make this call.
He's calling 20% of his stack off here with 8-9 of clubs.
He just does not have enough money to make this call.
John is called out of position with King-8 suited.
And it's more of a tournament play, again, where rarely are you that deep stacked in a tournament. And he's making a speculative play here.
Ace-7-5 here. Well, John's got a heart draw.
Yeah. Now, Robert's got a gut shot straight draw and a backdoor flush draw.
And Greg is going to bet here again. He's going to bet 150. There's only one overcard out there.
And just like...
Remember, Roeder got this guy off of a hand earlier in the day.
The problem is, can you get John off the hand?
I mean, he's bet 150 into a pot.
John's got no money. John's going all in. Yeah.
Well, he check calls all in. And if you were why not bet there?
Yeah.
Bet the guy off of pocket nines. If you were going to play King-8 there, add some fold equity to the play, right?
Exactly.
If he bets there, he probably wins it.
Yep, definitely.
Turn is a 10, river's a 6. That's unbelievable, Dave. I didn't know. He called $60 out of position with King-8 of hearts. Then when he flops a flush draw, he check calls all in. If he bets, he wins.
He's got to know.
Wow.
It's one of those times where you know your money's going in the pot anyway. Yeah. You might as well be the pusher. And you wonder if he pushes in. Well, you know JR is going to fold, but you're not sure if Greg can call with Roeder behind him. He might throw away nines. Email here from Paul Ferdiani. He says, hey guys, any news on the heads-up tournament you guys are mentioned last week? Suggestion for us is the bike should draw a name of one of the registered viewers for a seat in that tournament. Oh, should we? Oh. He also says, Bart, I was glad to see that Hollywood Russ called on the walk to Pittsburgh hands.
Yeah, what was that? 6-7 of diamonds, was it? Jeez.
Yeah. He says, I don't think you could pull off the Corporation Mike bald head. Yeah, you'd look funny bald, man, I got to tell you.
I don't know. I was definitely prepared to do it. I don't think it would be that funny. My hair grows fast, too. It wouldn't be like...
I'd love to see it. Can we make it? We got to make a bet then. I want to see you bald.
I'll do it. We got a raise here by seat number 9 with ace-queen. And Robert Roeder, let's see what kind of hand he's calling with this time. King-jack offsuit here, and now he's got even less.
Maybe I can raise these guys out of this.
Now, once again, his cards are live, but he keeps putting his money in. How does he know his cards are live?
Now, John is called here. He rebought for 500. Again, he's making a call. He probably shouldn't with just 500 in front of him, out of position with 3-4 hearts. And JR's in there with 6 deuce in seat 5. Wow.
Well, Robert has hit top pair, and I got to tell you, Robert's going to commit himself here. And that's the card you want. You don't want your king here. You really would rather have your jack. It's less likely somebody has
And John is going to lead out. Last hand, he check called into flush draw, and now he's going to lead out into 3 people with absolutely nothing. With 3-4 hearts here.
And I don't think Roeder's going anywhere.
He leads out with 3-4 hearts here. Totally dry bluff. And Gary's going to call in between with ace-queen and a gut shot.
I mean, if I'm king jack there, I probably lay this down.
Really?
A bet and a call?
Yeah. I mean, you got to start.
Well, I'm not in there. I'm not in there in a raised pot.
You got to start
king jack
piecing
offsuit.
together. What the hell did Gary call with on the flop? Ace king, ace queen, maybe. Roeder moves in. 3-4
But it's a
hearts.
raised
Easily
pot. I mean,
folds.
couldn't Gary have queens? Well, he didn't raise though. And Robert's going to take it down.
Gary's out of there.
Anyway, there is no news on the heads-up tournament yet. We're in development mode right now, but we're thinking sometime in August. Probably somewhere between, say, a $2,500 to $5,000 entry fee. We're looking for 64 players, first come, first serve.
Email here from Alistair S., a good English name from a gentleman from Toronto in Canada. He says, I love the show. Can you explain running it 3 times? And, of course, you can go over and check out. Any question, check out As Seen on Live at the Bike, because we most likely will have explained it.
Yeah, go to the website, and on the left-hand side, Bart was just saying there's the As Seen on Live at the Bike. Arvin was asking, did Dave say anything about his heads-up match with Alan? And it has not occurred yet. I think Alan and I are actually going to be playing a series of either 3 or 5 $1,000 heads-up matches. Best out of 5 is what we're looking to do at $1,000 a pop.
I don't know who's got the advantage there, Dave.
Wait a second. I got money against Alan, though. I got to find out if I won.
Live straddle here by seat 6. And Clint flops trip deuces here. And Elvis is going to bet at it with a bluff here. Let's see how Clint is going to play it here, Dave. Elvis is bet in with absolutely nothing here. It was limped around in a straddled pot. JR has ace high. Let's see what Clint's going to do here with 8 deuce.
I'm going to.
Now let's see what Clint is going to do. And again, I like a min raise here because I don't necessarily know if someone with a 6 goes out. And he does min raise.
The only thing with the min raise is sometimes the min raise kind of screams, I have a deuce.
Yeah. Actually, he's not min raising, he's over raising. He's making it 150.
Sometimes that's not a bad play because somebody would go, wait a second, if you had a deuce, why would you play it that way? But in this case, Elvis has got nothing.
Yeah, I think Elvis thinking about coming over the top here.
Thinking the guy's got a 6. Apparently the Dallas Mavericks have knocked off the defending champion Spurs. I got to tell you, if the Clippers can win tonight, they're going to the finals.
Well, it's in Phoenix, right?
Yeah, it's in Phoenix tonight. But if the Clippers can win tonight, I got to tell you, I like them versus Dallas.
I'm going to call you Steve later on today. Me?
You probably had a pair of 8s. A pair of 7s or pair of
Interesting, too, another email from Jared talking about Gabe Thaler. If anybody really wants to improve their cash game, Gabe Thaler was recently on the circuit. I haven't had a chance to listen to it, but I know he is one of the big winners over in the 2040 game at Commerce. He was actually one of the original members of the crew, but he has concentrated his game on cash games, and I hear he's a real force.
Gabe Thaler is part of the crew?
He was originally, yeah. And he focused on cash games.
I think you're mistaken the person.
No, I'm not.
Gabe Thaler's a guy I used to play pot limit hold'em with over at Commerce. And I hate to say that, he's actually a little bit older than those guys.
Yeah.
And phenomenal cash game player. Predominantly cash game player. That's where he's put all his focus in.
Yeah, and
he only plays big tournaments.
And I would love, I'm going to listen to the circuit for him. But and the question is about short buying and his discussion
really?
about short
part
buying.
of it, I'd love somebody email us. Let us know if he's part of the crew.
I'm almost 100% sure.
Yeah. Ronnie's saying he doesn't think so. Gabe Thaler, he's a good 7, 8, maybe even 10 years older than those guys. He's an old man like me. And I got to tell you, I have utmost respect for him as a person and a player. Real nice guy. Robert is backed into a straight here. He's queen 5, and he's going to bet 30 and not get called, I don't think. Nah, he's not going to get called. Now, the interesting thing about Gabe Thaler, when I first went over to that other casino and I was playing a little pot limit, and No Limit wasn't quite as big yet, and there was a 10-20 pot limit game, and I jumped in it, and he kind of took me on the side and gave me a lot of little tips. And I got to tell you, he didn't know me from a hole in the wall, and we just kind of hit it off. Really super guy.
Yeah.
But predominantly just a cash game player and a very, very good one. And here's another chip count. 7,600 on the table. Clint, JR, and Gary all have over $1,000. Let's see how they're doing. Clint's up 450, Alex up 400. Rotor is still even. John and Elvis are down. Big losers for the night so far.
We get a raise here by seat 2. Not that the world always revolves around us, Dave.
Yes.
And I haven't listened to that circuit interview with Gabe Thaler, but I wouldn't be surprised if Live at the Bike was brought up either by Scott Huff or by Gabe Thaler at some point in that interview.
Oh, might have been.
Anybody who listened to the interview can tell me, because I haven't heard it yet.
It's funny, I kind of
raises here with Ace King and he takes it down.
Early in my poker career, I kind of idolized Gabe because I would go there and I'd play this pot limit game, and I would literally. People always say if you want to become good, watch somebody who is good and learn from them. And I would literally sit in the game and just watch him. I like to think that I modeled my game a little bit after his. I don't even want to say that I'm even close to his level. I mean, he's really, I got to say, he is one of my favorite poker players. I thought it was almost laughable. I want to say, was he in the World Series a couple of years ago?
He was on TV in one of those
Who
events.
was he up against that was almost ridiculing him? Phil Hellmuth?
I don't know.
And I was like, are you kidding me? You're going to ridicule Gabe? I was like, you got to be joking me. I mean, this guy, he can run circles around you at a poker table.
Look at this. Robert Roeder here. Looks like he's limped in with queens from up front. And we're going to see five-way action. I couldn't find the thing about the crew, but I'm sure somebody will email us.
Yeah.
And he's hit top set here. He limped with queens, queen 10-3 here.
Well, he can't play it too slow because Alex is open-ended, and Alex can break him.
I love it. He's going to come out and bet.
Yeah.
He's going to bet real weak. He's going to bet 45 here.
Hey, if you're Alex, you just call this. It's an easy just call. You're out of position. You don't really need to put any heat on this guy.
Now, this is where if Roeder fills up here on the turn against a player like Alex, who has not really demonstrated that he's over-aggressive, I still like a pot-building bet on the turn if he fills up here.
Definitely.
Let's see what happens here. Well, the turn's a jack.
And it's a perfect card to actually keep betting there because you know what? If you build a pot here, Alex might actually keep calling you with just a jack. And he might even call you the river. And
Well, how about this? Alex looks like he's going to lead out here. And I don't think, unless you put him on a gut shot, that jack didn't help. I think you raise here again here if you're Robert.
You actually might put the guy in king jack here, thinking he was open-ended and he picked up a pair of jacks. And if you're Robert, you probably put a little pot-building raise here.
He bet 40. I'd probably make it 100 or 125 here, Dave.
Yeah. Now, the problem with that jack coming off, now if his straight card comes off, it's very obvious.
Yeah. Wow, and he just calls. Surprising. He leads out in the flop, and he just calls.
Hey, great bet by Alex. He's named his price for his
and
draw.
The river is an 8, and Alex makes the straight.
And we always talk about betting your draw.
Yeah.
That way you're naming the price. You're naming your price on what you want to pay for it. And look at that. It worked perfectly for Alex.
I mean, the pot now is about $200.
Would you ever overbet this?
I don't necessarily know what you put Robert on here. He's going to bet 60. And he's going to get a call.
That's a real
here.
small. $60 into how much? I mean, the pot was like, the pot's almost $225.
Almost $225. He shows the straight. You know, I was reading a recent article in Card Player. I think it was an article talking about limit versus no limit. It was one of those, that article series, and I'm running through the pages right here.
Yeah.
That guy that writes like the differences between limit and no limit. And again, I'm sure this is going to come out in the Skolansky book.
There you go.
Limit versus
Barry
no limit,
Tannenbaum's.
strategic differences. And there's a lot of money left on the river. This specifically talks about on the river. People who aren't that good don't know how much to bet to maximize their value.
Well, we talk about in limit hold'em, a lot of players make the mistake of not betting on the river and not getting that value bet in. And then also a lot of players in no limit, it becomes a little bit more difficult because they go, okay, well, certainly my hand is strong enough to bet, but how much do I bet?
I got to tell you, I mean, at that point, if you're Roeder, on the flop, you're not worried about killing your hand. But on the turn, you raise, not only is your hand vulnerable, but it's also action killing to a 4 straight card coming, right?
Definitely.
In either direction. I'm really surprised he smooth called there.
I mean, what happens if Alex actually had made 2 pair there? Somehow it was the case queen. He had queen jack or something. If an 8 comes off there, you might not get any action on your hands. Now, obviously, Alex also underbet that. He definitely could have bet at least, I'd say, $225, $200 on the river.
Greg is going to raise it up here out of the small blind with pocket queens. Oh, and I said I was going to plug his site, and I forgot. If everybody heads over to, I haven't had a chance to really look at the site, but it looks somewhat interesting. 08poker.com. That's Gregory's site. It's titled Omaha 8 or Better, Everything You Need to Know. And
about,
it looks like Omaha 8 or Better, pot limit and limit.
Oh, great.
And I got to tell you again, the people ask me, how'd you get started in Omaha? There's a great little chart over in Bluff Magazine called the Hutchinson Hand Rankings chart in regards to Omaha 8 or Better. And that's where I started from, learning my value of hands. It's a simple thing. Once you learn it, it assigns points to different cards, the suitedness of cards. You know, ace deuce is a certain card, then your kicker cards. And it's really how I started. So
it becomes a basic, like, if you have over 26 points, you can play.
20 points is playable, 30 points is usually raisable,
right?
Stuff like that,
We didn't have a change cap.
You know, it's not perfect, but it's definitely, it actually factors in. The point of the chart is, supposedly, the higher point value is directly related to the higher percentage of hands that are scooped.
And you found that it actually works
pretty well.
Pretty well, yeah.
Yeah.
makes you some nice money.
100 grand.
Get a raise here out of Alex. He's got Jack 10 suited.
Around the parking lot, make it
Makes a raise. Try to kind of a let me buy the button raise.
hand, get ready.
But Greg is going to call. 6-7 offsuit. Wow. Calling a raise there with the.
This is an Orange County.
Well, you know what, Dave? He is in
Connected.
position. He's in position here, and they're both deep. I really don't necessarily mind that.
Okay.
Santa Ana right next door.
It's not like he's calling in the small blind. Queen 5 here.
No, definitely. He is on the button.
Yep.
Oftentimes, I'd like that card to be. I'd like them to be suited as well, but.
And they wouldn't give me they wouldn't give me a concealed weapon.
And nice email here from Joe McLean. You know what? That is going directly into our definitions. Thank you. Great picture.
From Chef Corona.
Well, Elvis is going to come out, and he's going to bet 80 here with Ace 5.
It'd be worth it.
Now, Alex was the pre-flop raiser. He gets away from
And
it.
Elvis probably would check a queen and bet a 5, like most players, right?
Nowadays, he might not be giving anything out, though.
He also could have something like an overpair to the 5, like 6s or 7s or
definitely.
8s, something like
He's
that.
tightening things up, believe me.
He's running for re-election, so now you can probably get 2 for the price of 1.
He's under too much scrutiny.
Email here from
Valid reason. You should be able to get one.
Renald from Montreal.
Like right pick carry.
Says, "Hi, hey guys, I love the show.
He's been handing those
Have
out
you
like
ever
a
seen a player in the past worse than Carlos?" That was his question.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes, we have.
Yes, definitely. Boy,
If
we
you-
haven't had Jesus on in a while.
Yeah, if you check out the archives, and if you want to subscribe to the archives, you just go to liveatthebike.com, top left-hand corner. You can click on them. For $14.95, you have every show we've ever done. I actually checked it out this weekend.
Give him the money.
Our new format, I got to tell you, our new format absolutely
It's great.
rocks.
Yeah.
It's so easy to
Yeah.
see. I love the fact that every single game has all the players in there, so you can really see which game you want to. You can go through and find a game really easy. But we've got, Barry Greenstein, Kenneth James, Kathy Liebert, and we've got some of the biggest donkeys you could ever find.
We get a raise here by Greg with Jack 9 offsuit. And DJ is going to call with 9-5 offsuit. Oh, there you go.
You do?
King 8 here on the flop. Well, let's see if Gregory can put in that continuation bet here, Dave.
Yeah, and he looks like he's going to put a little $25 bet out there. Actually, a $30 bet, and that's going to probably take it done. And DJ's going to raise it, though. DJ has snuffed it out.
He's gonna raise it up to 50 more here, and I don't think Greg is gonna obviously continue on.
No, he's got no pair, no draw.
Yeah.
I think it's an easy laydown. Nice move by DJ.
Wait a minute. He's gonna re-raise. He's gonna re-raise the bluffer. He's bluffing the bluffer.
Wow, look at that. Talk about a tournament move there. We've got a bet by Greg, a raise by DJ, and then a re-raise by Greg, and he takes it down.
Kill the chips. Says, here I am.
I got to tell you, people more and more as we go into, we've been doing this show for a year and a half, starting sending me links to like Asian porn. Keep it coming. Keep it coming.
Great.
Thank you. It's much appreciated.
Once again, the views expressed by Bart do not necessarily aren't mine.
I got it, Ray. I bookmarked it. The button moves over here to seat 1.
And I'm ready to.
I don't know. No one's really answered that question about the crew.
And that's the one. Yeah, Kevin Matt was saying that Gabe was also in the 2004 World Series of Poker preliminary event, the one that Helmuth was in. And Helmuth was actually ridiculing Gabe, and I was like, I
Hey,
found
that
it
was
so
the one
humorous.
that Jennifer Harmon and Bobby Ballon was in as well.
No,
Or
that was
maybe
a circuit
different
event.
one.
That was a different event.
Well, that was a circuit event. What was this?
That was a preliminary event.
Oh, okay. So, yeah.
I believe that was, I want to say that was a $2,500 pot
Yeah.
limit event, or maybe even a $3,000 pot limit event.
Got a raise here by the rotor. He's on the button. He's got ace-7 offsuit. And DJ is going to quickly call with king-jack offsuit. And John calls with the same hand, ace-7 suited.
Yeah, we got about a $100 pot now.
180, I think. Well, look at this. And John flops the, he's got the nut flush. And look at this, top and bottom for DJ. And you would figure that DJ might lead out here on this board.
I love betting a board like this, and the reason I love betting it is
And it gets checked around, Dave. The turn's a 5.
I love betting a board like this because more often than not, people have something. Remember, it's a raised pot. Good chance somebody has either top pair, 2 pair.
I'm going to tell you, and look at this, just a call here Just a call by John. He's played the nut flush slow. And the river is a 4-spade. How often do we see it, Dave? And the guy makes the absolute minimum.
Well, let's see. And he doesn't even get a call on the river.
He doesn't even get a call on the river.
He made $30.
Yep. And he shows it.
And
the other thing, too, Dave, is if I check for some reason King Jack on the flop, or say I bet the flop when I get called and I bet again in the turn and I get raised, I almost can safely fold knowing that the guy flopped the flush.
Of course.
Yeah.
And the amazing thing is we talk about positive EV and negative EV.
Yeah.
And you look at a hand like John. Calling a raise out of position with ace-7 of spades is definitely negative EV.
Right.
Unless you make an obscene amount of money the few times you actually flop a monster.
Right.
Well, he's insured that it's going to stay negative EV for a while.
Because right there, if he probably raises the flop, all the money might go in from seat 2.
How about if he just bets the flop?
Well,
he didn't bet it. Nobody
got checked around. If he bets, probably a check raised by King Jack, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, unbelievable.
You bet it, let seat 2 check raise you, then maybe you smooth call it. Then the turn comes up with blank, seat number 2 has to bet into you. A lot of ways you can play it. You got to put money in the pot, though. Especially a board like that.
I'm really, really looking for. I don't, like I said, I don't put a lot of credence in poker books. There are some good ones and some bad ones. I'm really looking forward to seeing what these guys on 2+2 write about no limit theory. How they write that book up.
We got to write our own book, I tell you. We can have sections for each of our. Isaac can have a chapter just on Queen Deuce. 12 pages devoted to Queen Deuce.
I mean, let's say some of the. Some of the principles that we've been talking about on the show for a year and a half come out in print properly, say in that 2+2 book. Do you think you'll see the players still playing it the same way?
Of course.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to make that much of a difference.
Yeah. The information, if you want to become a good poker player, the information is out there to soak up. Some people just want to play for fun. They're not really interested in becoming better. Or they're just so stubborn, they're just set in their own ways. I mean, you think about it, between all the forums out there, between Live at the Bike, between all the books out there, if you want to become good, I imagine you could.
We get a $60 raise here by Robert Roeder with Jack 10 off suit. It was a live straddle, and JR is going to call with Jack 10 suited in the big blind. Again, I don't know if Robert Roeder has enough. Queen 7-5 here. And I think you can start making these speculative calls if you're JR with something like Jack 10 suited. If you play back when you don't necessarily flop something, I've never really seen JR bluff before, though.
It's amazing. I keep looking at Roeder's stack.
Yeah.
I haven't seen him lose a pot, but he still only has like the same 400 or 500 he's had. Is he calling a lot of like little $50 raises?
I think that's what it is. I think he continues to bleed his stack off with those speculative
those
calls.
Little $40 raise here, $40 raise there.
Right.
Okay. Email here from Anthony Gordon, leading out after the flop. He says, hey, when you're the pre-flop raiser and it's checked to you, how do you know how much to bet even if you have missed a flop? And what do you do when you get one or more multiple callers? Do you fire again after the turn if it's checked to you again? Man, Kyle, that's really one of those it depends kind of questions.
Right.
A nice kind of frame of reference, though. If you have a pre-flop raiser and everybody checks to you, and you want to make a continuation bet, oftentimes a pot-sized bet is a good starting point. Now, whether or not to continue betting after somebody calls you, well, then you've got to start putting your opponents on a hand. Are they calling you with a draw? Are they calling you with a hand? Trip threes here for Elvis.
He's on the button, Dave, too. Well, this is the type of hand you want to flop if you're playing ace-3 offsuit. And he's going to throw a little bet in there. And I don't think he is necessarily the kind of slow player that we tagged him out to be. He's going to bet 35. Now, Clint has got a flush draw, and this is a dry flush draw on a paired board, and he is going to make the check call here. These are not necessarily the flush draws you want to chase. You want to be the better, or you might just fold here, right?
Yeah, and you got to be scared, obviously, if an ace of diamonds comes off, it's no good. But you might be scared if, say, a 4 diamonds comes off.
Wow, now the turn's an 8, and that's got to be scary for Elvis somewhat. And it goes check, check. And the river here is a jack. And if this guy checks, I think you bet. And you might hope that
he has a pocket pair, pocket
maybe
sevens.
He has a 3, too, and maybe you can bet him off the same hand.
Yeah. Now, another thing I'll throw at you, Anthony, is you can also start thinking the players that did call you, after you think of what kind of hands they have, you've got to start thinking of, well, can I bluff this guy off the hand? Or is this guy a calling station? And these are questions you can obviously think of. The more you watch Live at the Bike, you'll see these circumstances coming up all the time. And Bart and I obviously address them when they happen.
Follow-up email here from Jared Pondlik. He says, Gabe Taylor does mention Live at the Bike really quickly in the interview. Giving you guys some props. There you go. Kind of figured that either Scott or Gabe would have mentioned that.
We got to get Gabe on the show.
Oh, that would be great, yeah. Well, Clint's got pocket queens here. He's in the small blind, Dave.
Anybody that listens to me would think I'm on his jock. But I actually really just respect his play. He's really...
Now, hey, when's the last time you talked with him? Can you approach him and he would know who
definitely.
you are?
Yeah.
You can work on that then, damn it.
Okay. Unfortunately, he plays at that other casino.
Yeah. He kind of looks like... I mean, people don't take him seriously because he looks young, and he kind of almost looks like an elf, almost. You know what I mean? Like elfish. That's what people have said, and people don't necessarily take him seriously.
That's why I'm going to work on getting him on the show.
You work on him.
Not you.
JR is raised it here with ace-6 of spades. And Clint is going to raise with queens out of the small blind. You know where I'm kind of going with that, right?
I know exactly where you're going. I'll even, when I talk to him, I'll say, hey, Elfman, come on the show. Yeah, you with the big ears.
So I assume that JR is going to fold. You know, I was actually talking with Paul.
Which Paul?
We call him the seasoned turkey of Live at the Bike, the seasoned pro. And I was talking to him about Jonas's game and Gabe Thaler's game. And Paul, I have a lot of respect for his opinions. He said that Jonas can be one of the best when he's on, but he tends to have that win every pot syndrome. So that, you know, that is definitely a leak in his game. But he says Gabe is the Jonas without the leaks.
No, I was the button.
Yeah.
Gabe, he is the real deal.
I don't know if you've ever played with him. I told you, I used to go down there probably 3 or 4 days a week and play in the game. And most of the reason to play was really just to watch him play. I was probably more of a break-even. Maybe I'd win a little bit of money in that game. But it was really at the beginning of my poker career, and I really went just to kind of soak up the you know, everything I could. I gotta tell you, sometimes that's not actually the worst thing to do. If you can just figure out a way to break even in a really good game, sometimes the best thing you can do is actually sit in a really tough game, kind of just try to break even, and soak up knowledge from everybody else, some good players.
Got a raise here by seat 4. He's got pocket 7s.
Sometimes they'll incorrectly tag you as a really, really tight passive player. And then the next time you come into the game, say, you know, a couple of weeks later, you'll be prepared to play in that game. And they'll be looking for this tight passive guy that was there 2 weeks ago, and you won't be that person.
Well, it goes check on the flop here. Elvis did not bet. The turn is a jack. Elvis was in position. He did not bet. Now he checks again.
I got to tell you, I'm betting that if I'm 7s.
On that board?
In position, I'm definitely betting, and he does bet the turn. No, he doesn't.
No, he checks again. He checked the flop as well. Rivers deuce. And this one just probably, now it's probably going to get checked down, I would assume. 7s are going to be good here. Email here from David Stanfield reminding us that if you actually look at the latest Poker Pro magazine, it's none other than Kenna James, who is on the cover.
Yeah.
Friend of Live at the Bike. Of course, you can head over to kennajames.com, check out his website. I have a feeling he is probably online for a really good World Series. Maybe a couple bracelets.
The year of Kenna,
I don't
maybe?
think he has he doesn't have any bracelets, right? I don't think he does.
No.
Wouldn't be surprised if he
Actually,
wins a few, maybe 1 or 2, 3, maybe something like that.
Kenna actually doesn't have that many tournament wins. He has a lot of being, you know, kind of the bridesmaid.
Second place at Legend, second place at Party Poker Cruise.
By the way, he's actually the first player who has locked up his seat for our Heads Up, Live at the Bike Heads Up National Championship.
Pocket queens here for seat 4, Elvis. Remember, he was the pre-flop raiser last hand, and he's going to raise it up here again. He's going to make it 60 to go. Now we're seeing some real pre-flop raises, Dave, as the game goes on a little bit. None of this $30 crap.
Yeah. Well, as the players get a little deeper, they've got to realize they've got to protect their hands. Now, this game did start off a little bit small. We're raising it, say, $40, $45. Might not have been that incorrect.
You put 10 on the side, he raised 60. They take off 10.
And Roeder's going to call again here with 9-10 of diamonds. This is kind of why his stack has stayed somewhat constant, even though he's pretty much won a lot of the pots he's been involved with.
And now he's out of position with a suited connector, has no idea where he's at.
King 7-4.
You know, and the king's a scary card.
And look at this. Elvis does not bet on the flop. Check, check. Well, the turn's a jack, and now Roeder's double-gutted here to the 8 and to the queen.
And Roeder's going to take a shot at it.
And Elvis quickly calls here.
Kind of induced this bluff.
Yeah. Again, Roeder's double-gutted. The river's an ace. Boy, I got to tell you, with 9-10 there, that might be a card. We saw Jonas do it a couple weeks ago. That might be another card that I figure I might use to bet at. I might use a paired king, I might use a jack, or I might use an ace. Of course, if I complete my hand, I bet as well, right?
Well, what do you put Elvis on? He didn't bet it. You think, okay, well, maybe he's got pocket 9, pocket 10s.
Yeah, yeah. And he made a quick call on the turn. I think if Roeder fires there again on the river, I don't know if queens can call.
Probably not.
Thank God.
Thank God.
Well, you're in trouble. That's my dealer, man. It's my brother from another mother.
Another email here from Jared. He resents it. He's upset. He goes, we went off on a tangent. I'm sorry. We're always going off on tangents.
Good. I'll let you have like every tip.
Oh, there it is. He said he was listening to the circuit recently with Gabe Thaler. Now, speaking of Gabe, no. And they were having a very interesting discussion on if it's better to buy in where you cover the table or buy in short. And one point they brought up was that in a cash game, unlike tournaments, there is no threat of death. You don't have to worry about busting out since you can always rebuy. But if you short buy, then you can always double through. He was curious on what we normally buy in for compared to the other stacks and how your feelings on buying in short. And that's Jared's email. Thank you, Jared.
Live straddle here by DJ. Now, Robert Roeder, he's in the big blind with King Jack. It got folded around to him. And he's going to raise it. I don't mind that. There's some dead money in there. Chances are you do have the best hand here.
Yeah. And he'll probably take this down, I imagine.
I mean, DJ, is he going to call off almost
No.
a third of his stack with 9-4 offsuit?
The old 49er hand here.
60 more, and I haven't even looked yet.
That's the good part.
And I guess the answer is yes. He has called a $60 raise when he's got 300 in front of him with 9-4 offsuit.
Hey, man, it's his blind. You don't try to steal a man's blind. That's just wrong.
Well, ace-7 here. Let's see what Roeder's going to do here. He's going to bet 20.
No, 120.
Oh, he's 120. Okay.
I can't believe he called a $60 raise at 4-9. Okay, so
Well, we've had this discussion before.
We have.
And the interesting thing is that, Dave and I say that I think you leave some on the table if you know how to play deep stack and you always buy in short. But if you can play short stack poker properly, there's definitely a case to be made that you can play it effectively. But we've never really seen anybody come on and play it properly, have we?
yeah,
Properly meaning if you're going to buy in this game for 500, you can't really be calling raises.
no, you want to be the raiser.
You want to be the raiser.
You want to be
the
the aggressor.
pusher. Yeah.
You need that added fold equity, obviously.
Ace King here for seat 6.
And he's going to make it 80 to go in a straddled pot. Not a bad raise at all.
And again, when you're playing short, it is almost proper, like we talked about, to play it a little bit backwards if you call with an ace-king out of position and flop an ace or a king and your head's up against a guy. You might check call or check raise all in there.
Now, is there a situation that you might want to play short buy-in?
I always think, well, maybe if you want to play in a game where you'd like to get deep but you don't want to buy in for deep, you might just kind of gamble it up a little bit, and then once you get deep, start playing your game.
I mean, once in a while, I'll say, more often than not, I want to have enough chips where I can make all sorts of moves. I can bluff if I want to. I can call with a small pocket pair. I can call with suited connectors. I don't want to take that out of my arsenal. But at the same time, there are a few occasions where if I'm in a really aggressive game with players, not necessarily I fear, but at the same time they're dangerous players, and I don't want to be put to the test for, say, a $4,000 or $5,000 pot or a $4,000 or $5,000 call. Sometimes I will buy in short in a game like that. And I go, okay, well, hey, I can always double through. And let's say I have $6,000 in my pocket. Instead of one $6,000 buy-in, I might have three $2,000 buy-ins and take shots.
40 more. my standard base.
And JR's going to make it 50 here from up front with King Jack suited after one limper here.
Unless everyone limps in, and then it's 100.
I'm calling you a crap.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Look at all the clubs out there.
Put big crap.
This could be it. Live at the bike first.
Put crap up there now.
A three-way flopped flush.
Crap, king.
Oh, no. Sorry, 5-4 clubs jumped out of there already. And so did the ace.
$150 pot to the flop. Well, 9 Jack 9 here. Now look at Elvis's hand. He's got an open-ended straight flush draw, and JR's flop top pair, and so is John. Interesting. And JR's going to bet 100 into a $150 bet. Elvis checked it here, Dave.
And Elvis's hand is big enough to...
And he check raises all in here. He check raises all in. Wow.
What's your rack forward? My rack forward?
He's got a huge draw here, obviously.
Now, I understand, obviously, this huge fold equity. If you get called, okay, you're still probably a favorite over the field. But do you ever want to price your opponents in here because you have such a huge draw? Just playing devil's advocate. I think it's an easy laydown for JR. I really do.
I got him behind.
Well, I think
And that's Rotor tapping on the glass. Yeah. Rotor tapping away.
Oh, I love it. Well, what JR is saying is, I've got a guy behind me that smooth called my flop bet, and I think that's what he's worried about. I don't mind the laydown there by JR.
No, I don't mind the laydown at all. I lay down King Jack in a heartbeat. And I got to hand it to Rotor. You know what? He's smiling, he's laughing. I don't think I've ever seen him smile and laugh. There you go.
I didn't know. I just said I didn't know.
Their heads up. They can stop talking. Oh, he can. These two.
Don is having a great time out there.
As always.
You don't order right away.
And you can see that it's about 50-50 here. It's literally a coin flip.
I got to tell you, after this hand, we're going to go off topic for a second because we need some real play-by-play coverage of something that would be very entertaining at the table.
Okay.
Let's see what John's going to do here.
Now, it's an easier, oftentimes these decisions are a lot easier when you're short stacked. John's only got about $300 in front of him. He can look at the pot size and go, well, can I call this? Now, the only problem is if you put the other player on a jack as well, and you put Elvis on a 9, well, there's no way you can make this call. You can only put him on, if you think he has a heart draw, you can make this call. And he does not call. Turn was an ace, and the river was a heart, and Elvis would have gotten there with the queen 10 of hearts.
Okay. If Robert Rotor orders from a food server, we have got to get that right in on camera, and we need a mic near there because it's an event. We're talking about like, oh, he already ordered, we missed it?
Like when Harry met Sally type of thing?
No, it's just like there's all kinds of things going on with the side dishes, complaining about why this doesn't come with this, how the classic club card works. I've seen it so many times.
Once again, we're live at the bike. I'm David Tuckman here with Bart Hansen. We're playing No Limit Hold'em. Blinds are 5 and 10. This is an unrestricted buying game, $500 minimum buy-in. And this month is all our Poker Classic. We've got it May 22nd running through June 4th.
Limped around here. Uh-oh. All right, nothing really here. She is taking his order now, Dave.
25.
We can keep it right here.
I did.
Now, see, he's flipping through the
hand the river. You know, I'm sure he's talking about it. So, because you guys because I got a jack, he's got a jack.
Oh, that was simple. Oh,
what a letdown. What a letdown.
Yeah.
I got to say, it didn't seem much different than like my dad ordering.
Right. No, it wasn't. I was expecting him to point to the menu several times. And that food server, Dave, she's not necessarily one of my favorites. She's got sometimes a hard time. I have a hard time with her sometimes.
Do you?
Yeah. So I thought it was a recipe for an interesting combination there.
And I got to tell you, sometimes I go out to dinner with my dad, and I wince when it's his time to order. Because he always goes, oh, do me last. You go first.
My dad always flirts with like the waitresses and stuff, though.
Does he really?
Yeah, yeah.
With your mom right there?
No, not like.
Oh, right.
Not like that necessarily, but
But just a little friendly.
yeah, real friendly. Like,
Nothing wrong with that.
you know. Greg gets raised here with King Queen off suit. He's gonna take it down. And people are saying about the archives. I assume that some of the stuff people are looking for, it is going to be cataloged. I know one of the stuff is cataloged, but we are planning on having everything cataloged. Am I correct about that in the booth? Over time, yes.
Yeah. Now, the most recent shows, if you check out May's catalog,
Yeah.
those are cataloged perfect. I mean, those are really, really
we're
well
planning
done.
on trying to get almost everybody's name in there at some time.
Right, so we've got to obviously manually go back and go through each show and then punch it in there. That's obviously time-consuming and very labor-intensive.
I got 7,800 Monday night.
Now, we've got a huge staff here at Live at the Bike, but they're all doing something. It's amazing.
King's the flop of the ace and a king. And the king on the river.
Check out that. I think it was either September 7th or September 2nd. I think it was the 9-2 show where that you had that hand with Barry Woods and Kenna James kind of flopping the bottom two pair.
If you go through it, I mean, we've got shows. Ted Forrest was on this show. Remember Ted Forrest and what was it? The 9 deuce hands
against Chad Brown.
Yeah.
Limit way back in like March of last year. Raises with 9 deuce and Chad Brown smooth calls him with aces in the small blind. He flops trip deuces.
Another fun thing to do is ace 6 jack out there. Another fun thing to do is if you go back, if you're a new watcher of Live at the Bike, go back and watch last February, last March, and last April, and compare those shows to these shows now, and you'll see how far we've come.
Turns jack. And I think Dave and I, now that we play pretty much this game and No Limit full time, have definitely a new perspective on the game. Sometimes I watch as seat number 2 is going to bet there. DJ's made this play a couple of times, but it's got checked to him twice. Doesn't think anybody has anything, and I assume he's going to take it down. You know, we really have a new grasp on the game now that we've played it. Far be it for me to ever agree with the Greek poker god, English George, but he actually got pissed at me towards the end of last year and said, well, Bart, you never play in the game, so you don't necessarily have the right to say any of the stuff, or you're not necessarily the best commentator for the game. And I took it with a little bit of grain of salt then. I think he was partly correct. But I think, say a year ago, I think we really kind of showed our limit backgrounds, Dave, with some of the stuff that we said.
Well, of course. I mean, you and I played probably 90% predominantly limit hold'em.
Right.
Over the last 6 months, you and I played predominantly no limit hold'em. I think George Giorgio, the Greek poker god, he just takes things a little bit personal. Get a raise here from JR. He makes it $50 with ace jack offsuit. He's on the button. Clint's not going to call up the ace 9. Nice laydown. And everybody folds, and JR takes it down.
We haven't really seen any outrageous play here tonight. And we haven't even seen, I thought it would almost be a little bit more tournament-esque. We haven't seen anybody really get out of line with a bunch of moves.
A couple of little moves here by Roeder.
Again, though, I think that we have consistently seen people call raises when they shouldn't because of either their stack size or their opponent's stack size, which is obviously a mistake in no limit hold'em.
Well, you think about it, how often, if you think about no limit hold'em,
Roeder's got aces. And we get a raise here by seat 9 with ace queen. It's a $25 raise, and that is basically like a limp in this game. There's no way you smooth call a $25 raise here with aces next act.
Definitely not.
Absolutely not.
Not unless you want 6 callers.
And he's going to make it 85 here.
That's fine. It's a good raise.
And actually, you know what? DJ mucks ace queen. It was an open raise by king jack of diamonds, and C3 moves in with ace jack of spades. Oh my! All the aces are dead. And we can see that 3 of the jacks are dead. It's almost impossible for John to win this hand unless he catches a flush.
He needs a flush or some sort of king-queen.
Because look, he can't catch 2 jacks. There's only 1 jack left in the deck.
And we see 2 kings dead, too, so even straights are tough to make.
John with the cards that are dead, he is a huge dog. Probably Roeder is probably like something like 97% with what is dead here.
Yeah, with all the cards that are dead, definitely.
Running spades. That's what John would need, or a running Broadway straight. That's it.
That's it.
It's over.
And I got to tell you, in a cash game, if you get a raise and a re-raise, ace-jack suited. Oh, that's in the muck.
Absolutely. Are you kidding me?
I mean, that's got to be in the muck.
Yeah.
You've got 3 outs at best. And we have some classic limit hold'em events where I remember we had Tim Fan, Jerry Buss, and Yoshi Nakano involved in about a $28,000 pot.
Insane.
That was really an insane hand. That was back in August of last year.
Yeah, late August. Yosh really overplayed his, basically what was a small overpair to the board. Tim Fan flopped trips, and Jerry Buss was just calling with over cards. Jerry Buss hit a miracle straight on the river, but it completed Yosh's tens full on the river as well. And Fan ended up mucking the trips that he flopped on the flop. That was crazy.
Yeah, one of the craziest hands we've ever seen on Live at the Bike.
Yeah.
King board. Did you have a 9 or a 7?
Of course, the infamous set over set over set hands.
Yeah.
Where top set actually laid down.
Right. 3-way action here. Looks like it was straddled around here. King, queen, jack.
I like the bet by Gary. I got to tell you, I really do.
50.
He's going to bet 50.
The ladder.
I like the bet here. He's putting a little bet out there, see where he's at. It's really tough, and one of the reasons I like the bet is you can say, it's a scary board, though. How can you bet it? Well, it's scary for anybody else to call, unless they've got a real big piece of it.
Again, you can email us at liveatthebike.com. Questions, comments, suggestions, always appreciated.
Stop something.
Oh, I know. Wow.
Anyway, it didn't matter.
I just had a bad feeling you had something.
Feel me.
They can't see it.
Some exciting news. We got Denny Williams
Look at that.
in the house.
If we can flip. Is he behind seat 4 right now?
Apparently, that's where the food is, so.
Hey, this is old school Live at the Bike friendly. Hey, wave at the camera, Denny.
Classic.
Oh. I don't put this guy on 4-5, especially if he's betting out of the blinds.
Classic. He's in the blind. How
I
do you
know.
have 4-5?
I thought you were going to skip
I don't even remember what that hand that pertained to, but
Denny obviously here all the time, but especially busy the week this month.
Raise it 40.
we get a raise here by seat 9. He's got pocket 10s. And queen 4 spades is going to call. And DJ has played it real loose pre-flop.
Yeah, you think?
10s against queen 4 suited. So DJ has not flopped a pair here. King, jack, 8. And that's not a great board for 10s,
Yeah.
but he's going to bet 100.
We do apologize. Ronnie screwed that up. It's queen 4.
Another chip count? Here we go.
Yeah, up to 8,000 now. Clint's got the table covered still.
Rattle.
Clint, Elvis, and Gary all over 1,000. And let's see how they're doing. Clint up 440, Alex up 400. This game is really playing very small. I mean, we're talking about a game. The 3 to 5 game sometimes has bigger movement than this.
Look what Rotor has again here.
He's
Are
up
you
150.
kidding me?
Aces again.
He's
So-
got aces again in seat 1.
You know, it actually brings me back to a question. You know, a guy asked me, they go, how often should I get aces? Like once an hour?
Right.
I go, yeah, pretty much once every 45 minutes. It's amazing.
And we have a raise. I think it's by Gary with pocket. No, jack 9 offsuit here. Oh, no, it's just straddled around.
12 more steps.
It's straddled around here,
Yeah.
Dave. And
So there's $80, actually $100 of dead money in the pot. I think it's an
Yeah.
easy big raise here, probably 100 more.
140 total.
Yeah, 140.
he's going to make it 140. And again, he's actually made that raise where no one really should call him because of his stack size, Dave.
No, yeah, Alex has got pocket 3s, but he can't call. Rotor is not deep enough. But I guess sometimes you can say that's the power of the short stack. But in the same sense, though, don't you kind of want the call sometimes?
But
Hard to make money.
You might make it, a guy like you or I who say, well, you use the token 10 times your blind. Or excuse me, 10 times the raise amount that someone might call with, Dave. Oh, I just got in the background that you lost your bet.
Are you kidding me? I did a last longer. Okay.
Oh, man.
Anybody home? Everybody knows that's Alan, right? and everybody knows Jay Siegel, our local potato of the show. Now, Jay Siegel is one of the tightest players we know, right? Very solid, very tight. Alan is, well, that's Alan. Anyway, so Alan asked me if I wanted to do a last longer, and I go, well, I'm not going to be in this. They're doing a little satellite. And I go, I'm not going to be in it. Anyway, so I go, okay, you can do it with, I go, can I pick anybody at the table to go against you, and then I'll put $100 on them? He goes, sure. So I pick, of course, the potato. Anyway, I just got word that Potato got knocked out third, and Alan is still in it. I can't believe it. Jeez. I can't believe that. Unreal. Well, I knew the Potato would last. I knew he would. Yeah, good job there. What can you do?
We have a raise here by
him calling.
Elvis. Under the gun, he makes 30 to go with Jack 9 of spades. And that might be like a little bit of a little stop raise. And he's going to get some six-way action here. $180 pot. Elvis, this mini pre-flop racer. Ace-7 deuce, couple hearts. Now, Greg's got ace-jack suited. He's got the best hand. Is Gary going to get in trouble here with ace-10?
You always wonder. I mean, I got to tell you.
Gary's played it as solidly as pretty much anyone has. I think this is an easy fold if you have ace-10.
Yeah, I mean, there are hearts out there. You've got a naked ace here. You've got no redraw whatsoever.
Rotor's out.
Yeah, John's not going to get involved, I imagine. Elvis is going to throw away his hand. And we'll see this heads up.
Now, the question is, would this guy just smooth call a raise with ace-queen if you're Greg?
He might, yeah. I mean, ace-queen is a tough raising hand as well.
Greg checks, and Gary's going to bet 100 here.
And I think that is really a pot-controlling bet. I think he's going to hope that he gets called here, and then he can check it down in the river. And I like the bet by Gary. I really do. And I almost guarantee this is going check on the river.
Yep.
And I don't mind the bet at all by Gary.
Now, over $500.
Now, unless he thinks he's behind. Wow, wait a second, though.
No, Greg check called the turn, and now he's going to bet 200 on the river. Well,
kind of an odd way to play the hand, isn't it?
You can only beat ace-9 and ace-10. And ace-10 is going to call it, and it's a nifty little value bet there with ace-jack.
It is. I'm really surprised. I mean, it was a surprising way to play the hand. Come out and bet, get called. Okay, the field is limited to just you guys. Now you check to him, he bets, you call, and now you bet. I mean,
well, let me throw this out at you. If Greg is a good enough player to rightly identify, like you did here, now you saw the cards, that it was a pot-controlled bet, and that the guy, okay, he might have ace-queen, but I think
more
there's
likely
a better chance he's got ace-jack, ace-10, or ace-9. Well, if I throw a bet out here, I'm going to get called by a hand that I beat more often than I'm going to get called by a hand that I don't beat.
Yeah.
Or I either get fold equity with a hand that I tie with, right?
Yeah, no, definitely.
You know what I mean?
It didn't seem like he had two pair
right.
or ace-king.
Right.
Ace-queen is the only card hand you're scared of, really. Yeah, I guess the more you think about it, probably is a good bet. It really is. Obviously, got called.
Got an email here from Anthony Lasardo about my play on Friday. I'll get to it in a second. Got a raise here by, looks like DJ on the button with Queen-Jack suited. Well, I couldn't tell if JR raised or, well, DJ's flopped the flush.
Now, JR has flopped.
Now look at this. DJ flopped. He was the pre-flop raiser. He does not bet here. The turn is a 10. It goes check, check. And now JR's going to bet 30, and I got to tell you, if DJ raises here, I think JR might get away from the hand.
Yeah, JR's got no money.
No, DJ has no money.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Sorry.
DJ did not bet that flop. I mean, if you bet there, I think JR might commit to the hand. And now he just calls. He is asking for an action killer to come. And the river is a fourth club. Can you imagine, Dave?
Yeah, I don't.
Can you imagine?
And JR can beat absolutely nothing. Because you think about it, you can't even beat King 10 or King 9. You can't even beat a king with King Jack.
God, how often do we see it? We've seen it 2 or 3 times now where a guy, he's the pre-flop raiser. He lets everything kill his action. He does not maximize his...
Especially, I mean, that guy, DJ, only had like $120.
How do you play it tricky there? Are you kidding me?
I got amazing he didn't bet at least, say, 50 on flop.
50, get a call by JR with a king and then move in on the turn, right?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Especially, you're on the button. I mean, how do you expect money to get in there if you don't bet it?
So, Anthony says, I watched the replay Friday over the weekend and had a question for Bart. Could you explain your reasoning why you had Carlos all in with ace-jack against your jacks? Why didn't you want to run the turn in the river 3 times but not the flop? If an ace flopped, you'd be drawing to 1 out of 3 times. Was there an advantage in the way you did it? Well, it actually doesn't make any difference. Carlos, I think, just didn't want to run the whole board 3 times. So I was like, all right, we'll run the flop and then the turn in the river.
Right.
That's all.
60.
And I would have lost the first one if we had just because an ace came on the turn. Of course, running it multiple times to hedge and variance.
Exactly.
Now, Roeder raises here with ace-queen of spades.
And he's going to take this down.
So, Dave, we have seen it twice now where somebody has flopped a high flush, has slow played themselves into the 4th suit coming and not getting action.
And made nothing.
Yeah.
And both times, the player had minimum top pair. The first time, player actually had 2 pair.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Button moves over here to seat 4. Got less than an hour left of the show here, about 50 minutes left. And Robert Roeder, he's going to raise it up to 30 here with queen 9 of spades. And Elvis, he's going to call with 7-8 of clubs. He can make this call. Robert Roeder's got about 600 in front of him, and he's got him covered. So he's got about 20 times, and he's in position. We're heads up now.
Yeah. Much different situation.
4-3-3 here.
Now, this is the power of position. Now, if you think maybe Robert has missed this flop, you can probably raise him off it.
Well, Roeder's put out a nice pot-sized $75 bet here.
He has. Probably the same bet that Robert would put out if, say, he had pocket 9s or pocket jacks or pocket queens.
Yep. And he takes it down. Nice play there.
I got to tell you, we were very critical of Roeder and Roeder's play. Actually, I wouldn't say his play, but he's really done nothing to disservice himself tonight.
Yes, we had a set over set over set hand.
Yeah,
way back, what was that, over a year ago.
Flop was 6-3 deuce.
Yep.
And set over set over set.
And the guy with top set got away from his hand on the turn. That was the hand where he said, I don't put anybody on 4-5 and then I'm going to spot up.
There's no way you could have 4-5.
Pocket kings for Robert Roeder.
Although I will say, with the amount of big hands Robert's had, you'd think he'd be up more money.
Right. He's going to love the show.
I got to tell you, you give me pocket aces 3 times and kings, and I never get sucked out on it.
Yeah.
I'm going to win more than $100 in a 5-10
Remember, he
game.
linked in with queens one time and flopped top set as well.
Oh, wow.
He made it 35 to call, and DJ has called, but DJ shouldn't call because he has no money. He has 200 left.
I mean, it's not like he's had aces cracked once or twice.
Now, you wonder here, if this comes ragged, I wonder if DJ's going to push. Oh, well, it's an ace. Ace, queen, 5. Roeder checks, and DJ checks right behind him. Turns a 4.
Well, DJ can catch a 3 now or a deuce. And DJ's going to call.
Roeder bets 40, and DJ calls, and the river here is an ace. And I think that's even more of a reason why Roeder's going to bet again here.
Yeah, and it's kind of a little controlling bet there. And what can you beat if you're DJ here? Is there anything you can beat? King Jack, I guess, specifically King Jack. You know it's always getting bad when you start manufacturing hands you can beat. You go, I think the guy's got kings. Well, that doesn't work. Okay. Guy's got king, queen. No, that doesn't work either. Okay, King Jack. King Jack specifically. Button moves over to seat number 6. Small blind is $5. That is
How the hell did
Alex.
How does Alan make it heads up into a shootout heads up?
He knows how to play poker. I mean, you got to remember here, Alan, and we're talking about That's Alan. Do you know how many hours of poker he has played in the last year?
Yeah.
He's bound to learn something or two.
They're probably better than
He's also not, remember, the money doesn't scare him at all. If he loses, so be it. He has no fear of like, okay, whatever. If he's catching cards, he's going to be in there. You know he's going to be calling.
And Elvis is going to raise here. He's going to make it 50. Now, Alex, who we really haven't heard from recently, he's got ace-queen offsuit. He's going to call.
No ace deal. Okay. 3 players.
And here we go, three-way action. DJ's in there with 10-5 of diamonds. Well, the flop comes out all rags, and it's missed everyone. 9-6-4 with a couple clubs. It gets checked over to Elvis.
120.
And he's got a $120 continuation bet, 4 purples and 4 yellows. And I assume this is going to take it down here. There's the lovely Donna in the background. Donna, I assume, do we have a big board for this game?
Oh, no, I got it.
Cool. Maybe Isaac can scroll over there to that,
There are my...
talk about a lot of action that we have
Hey,
here
haven't got
during
right
this
back.
tournament series.
Still
There
got
it
it?
is.
Oh. Right.
Butt moves over here to seat 7. That is Alex. He's played it pretty tight.
He was here, but then he left.
Here's the thing.
Got an early position limp here by seat 2.
I could make a hand if we put both our heads together.
And
If I look at that one,
Sean has moved over to seat 8. That was, and I guess Greg. Has Greg gotten? No, Greg has gotten up.
3 players.
There be no possible.
Queen 10 Jack here on the flop. It was limped around. Looks like DJ has the best hand here with Jack 7. He's going to lead out.
20.
He's going to bet 20. And he is going to take it down. Another email here from Jared Pondelik saying, "Hi, Dave and Marty. I was curious on what's going to be happening with Live at the Bike during the World Series of Poker. Are you guys going to be playing in any of the events? Might be a good time to use a video blog so all your fans can keep track of everything that's going on with you. Maybe even a live stream at a final table when you make it to the big one." Well, that would be a great idea. Actually, we have a lot of plans for the World Series. Hasn't necessarily been totally ironed out yet, but we will keep you updated. Uh-oh, pocket kings for seat 9, and the Rotors got queens in seat 1. You can see a lot of the money go in here pre-flop. Gary with kings and Robert Roeder in seat 1 with queens. JR's going to limp in with an ace-deuce of clubs here.
Straddle.
And let's see if Robert Roeder re-raises Gary. Gary's going to make it
60.
60. Not a big raise in a straddled pot here, folks. And I'm assuming that RR is going to come over the top here. He's taking a look at his stack size. And he's going to make it 180. And it looks like here, for Gary, he might have about 500 left. If he pushes here, I think it's an easy fold for Robert Roeder. Let's see what Gary's going to do. Remember, it's queens and it's a cash game. $60 raise. Robert Roeder re-raises. He makes it 180 to go. And Gary moves all in.
Bring out your 120.
And I believe that Roeder has asked for a count. He's going to try to figure out how much more it is here. It's 360 plus the all-in here, plus the dead money. So the pot is now 400 plus another 400 more. It's an $800 pot. 400 for Robert Roeder to call. He's getting 2 to 1.
Call 410.
And he's going to make the call. And I said it was an easy fold, but maybe with those stack sizes, I was wrong about that. And this pot is going to be $1,600. $1,600 pot in yellow chips. 983, couple hearts.
That was mine.
And here we go to the turn. Robert's going to need a queen or running hearts here. Turns a deuce. It's a queen and a queen only. $1,600 pot. Gary's going to double through here. And the river's a 4, and Gary is going to take it down with 2 black kings. And there it is.
Somebody has to see both cards. We'll copy points. We're live online. Good to watch it.
And there it is. Gary's going to take it down there. New player coming into seat 3. It's Sean, and he is going to buy in for 4,000.
Now you can get the deal.
is that, University of Denver shirt? Yeah, University of Denver.
Blinds, please. Two big blind.
I played with that guy this afternoon,
You're a new player, right?
Sean. And Robert Roeder just went out. All the money went in with Kings against Queens last hand.
He had queens, huh?
Yeah. And he's down to about 310. Look, he's picked up unbelievable
So
money.
he's had aces 3 times, kings once, queens twice.
I think more
And he
than that.
won,
Yeah.
I want to say, actually, I think aces 4 times. And he's won 6 out of those 7 hands.
Yeah.
And he's down money.
Yep.
Probably not a good formula for success in a no-limit cash game, huh? I mean, you got to realize that if you have 7 big hands and you win 6 out of the 7 of them, you shouldn't be net down. Kind of the secret of poker, huh?
3 players.
Lose as little as you can on your losing hands and win the most as you can on the winning hands.
Three-way action here, limped around Queen 9-4 with a couple of hearts.
Check around.
Checked around. Turn is another 9.
Yeah, well, Robert's got a pair of 7s, a pair of 4s. I think he's going to bet it, and he does. Take it down.
There it is.
3, you want the big one? Okay.
Nice email here from Jared. He says, "Hey, Dave and Bart, I was curious. What is? Did you already say this?
Yes, it did.
You did. Okay.
You can say it again. If
I'm
you
going
want.
to say it too because I'm curious also.
Okay. Well,
I was curious what is going to be happening with Live at the Bike during the World Series of Poker. Are you guys going to be playing any of the events? Might be a good time to use a video blog so all your fans can keep track of everything that is going on with you. That's a great one. Great idea, Jared. Really is. If you actually check out my blog, I actually took off a full 6 weeks during last year's World Series. Won't be able to do that this year, but we're kind of figuring it out right now. But I know we're going to have a Live at the Bike booth. Did you mention that already?
Go ahead.
I did not. I know that we're going to have a booth in the Lifestyles Convention.
Yeah, at the Lifestyles Convention during the World Series main event. Bart and I will definitely be down there during that and during different periods of the World Series. So make sure you come visit us during the Lifestyles Convention.
Now, it's limped around, and look at this. Gary's got ace-9. He's going to bet 50. Robert Roeder's got a gut shot with overcards to the nuts to the 8. DJ has an open-ended straight draw with middle pair, and he calls.
Yeah, now with 2 clubs out there, I'm not sure I want to get involved.
Turn is a jack. It's a 3rd club. Now Roeder's got the same straight draw here with the 10 of clubs draw, the highest club, and top pair.
Yeah.
And it gets checked to him, and he's going to bet. He's going to bet 100 here. And how can you call here if you're DJ? I mean, what are you trying to catch, a 10?
No, I mean,
You're 2 pair, you don't know if you're good. There's 3 clubs out there. And he's all in. He makes the check call all in for 35. Well, I guess he committed so much.
well, with $35, you might call, yeah.
And he's way behind here, and the river's a 3, and Roeder's going to win it here with the jack.
Take it down, Roeder. Actually, and I don't want to commit to it, but I'm pretty sure I think we're sharing a booth with Adult Party Poker.
I don't think it's adult party poker, but what is it, adult poker? Adult poker party.
Oh, even better.
Yes, Rich.
It's adult poker, and
I'm
hey,
going to
it's a
tell you,
party.
I'm going to have such a great time there, especially with those promotional models and hopefully porn stars. Well,
I think
you're
it's all-
married.
I think it's all porn
You're
stars,
married.
isn't it?
What are you going to do? I mean, I'm in Vegas. We're going to be in a booth with a bunch of porn stars.
Hey, what happens in
Playing
Vegas
poker.
stays in Vegas.
I'm sure your wife will like to hear that.
Yeah,
Ray, I think you're going, man. We'll have a party.
luckily for me, my wife is working right now.
Is it going to be a bunch of porn stars in the booth? It's going to be awesome. Are you kidding me? Oh, man. Yeah, Asian porn stars.
Option. I know I got a great hand. 6 players.
So everything's going to be great. The World Series is going to be fabulous. As long as I just wish it wasn't July in Vegas.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, if anybody visited us in the booth last year, we had some pretty hot. We had the best promotional models in the whole place last year.
did you? I thought the Bodog girls were
Oh no! I mean the bombshell models, man.
better. I'm telling you, I thought the Bodog girls were hotter. Really? You really thought? You didn't think that?
I thought that the bombshell models were the best. Wow. Then again, I was next to the poker blue booth, so.
Oh, the Poker Blue girls. Those were, oh. God, where'd you rile them up? You wonder. You want to go to Yosh and go, come on, Yosh.
Elvis betting John raised. Now, Elvis has the best hand here. He called a raise here with Jack 7. I mean, you fire out in that board with Jack 7 or Blackjack 7, you get raised. Can he continue on out of position? But he does have the best hand. John raised him with 7-9.
Well, you can do anything. Should you? I don't know.
John's going to bet a little bit here again.
Elvis throws away to Jack 7.
Yeah.
Lane Bryant. Ray Bryant.
Button moves over here to seat number 3.
Yes, it does. Now, what did you think of seat number 3's play?
Couple master cookers.
Sean, right? Sean?
I only played with him for a couple of minutes.
Oh, okay.
He was a little bit passive in the one hand. I got mixed up with him.
Okay.
Seemed like the type of guy that isn't going to be making a lot of moves.
University of Denver.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, I don't want to stereotype, but if anybody was going to be from, like, University of Denver, that's the kind of guy. Look at him. He's looking straight out of Denver.
What, like kind of rugged-like, mountain-like?
Yeah, just like, you know.
You and I both know it's a conspiracy.
Well, rugged and mountain-like, but mountain-like, I guess, is a...
Have you been to Denver before?
I have.
Yeah.
I swear I loved... on my drive out here, when I moved out here, I stopped in Boulder. And it's one of my favorite cities.
University of Colorado.
I almost did not make it to LA.
Really?
I liked it so much. I met a couple of friends.
It's a big college town.
Ended up staying... I was supposed to stay there one night. I ended up staying like 4 nights. And
Would
I
you stay
loved
like
it.
at a linked fraternity from your school or something like that?
No. I just... I had rented an apartment... not an apartment, a hotel.
Four-way action here. Now, DJ's got the nut flush draw, and Clint also has a flush draw here in seat 6.
Talk about it, reverse implied odds. If Clint were to catch a diamond here, he could really lose a lot of money.
Well, Clint's going to bet 60 here.
And you know DJ's going to at least call. Actually, if you're DJ, would you just push in here with ace-9?
He's going to call.
Now, that 500, is that his?
It is.
Oh, it is. He's rebought. Okay.
Yeah, he's not as short as I think you thought he was.
Right. Now, the jack on a turn, and that's going to give Clint an open-ended straight draw.
It also gives DJ a gut shot to the 10.
Right.
And it's a $150 bet, and again, a quick call by DJ. And what if this goes miss-miss?
It'll probably go bet fold.
Is Clint going to fire out again? Well, here we
Tough
go
to
to the
put somebody on
river.
a draw when you have it.
And
though.
the river's a queen, and both players have missed.
I gotta tell you, it's really tough to put somebody on a diamond draw. when you
Check,
have
and now DJ thinks he needs to bet. Clint checked, and DJ thinks he needs to bet. And DJ turns over ace-9 of diamonds thinking he bluffed, but he actually had the best hand.
Stop looking at the best hand, so it's not allowed. You're going to bluff, have absolutely nothing.
Man, I put him on jacks.
Adult poker party, man. I can't wait. Yeah. I'm looking that up right now. Kidding me? In Vegas? It's great. It's great because one of the buddies I'm going to be staying with over there, he's just like one of those sociable guys that knows like all the doormen and stuff.
Right.
So you gotta like, oh, I've got some girls. We'll show them a good time.
Another big hand
Pocket
tonight.
kings here for JR.
Sean's got ace-queen. See how he plays it in late position.
Who gave me these lucky chips?
Well, I'm looking at this here. New sexy adult poker site promises to blow you away.
We got a raise by Sean with ace-queen. Let's see what JR's going to do. Cutoff raise to 75. And I assume that JR's going to make this probably at least 225, right?
Re-raise.
Got a couple limpers in front.
225?
Maybe 200, we'll see.
The raise was
Not
75.
more, I'm talking about total. Total.
The raise was 75, right?
Right, so I'm saying he makes it 225 total?
I don't think you need to make it that. I think you make it 150 total.
Just a min raise?
Remember, the players here just limped in, right?
Yeah.
So it's only one guy. I don't mind if he calls me.
He made it 225.
Okay. I'm saying, but you could make it 150 or 170, right? I don't.
I guess, but again, though, if you've got ace-queen there, I think you probably just call and you hit your ace. And well, let's see
I don't
how it
mind.
plays
I don't
out.
mind if the guy calls me, Bill.
You don't mind giving the guy like 4 to 1 on the flop?
I'm giving him a chance to catch his queen, though, also, and go broke.
Well, Sean's really thinking about it here. JR's made it 225. You wonder if Sean he gets away from it. And that's kind of what I figured there for Sean, kind of tight.
You know, and if the ace comes out, but if the ace comes off, okay, it's easy for me. I'm not going to lose any more money with it. It's pretty easy for me to get away from it.
Good luck, everybody.
You know?
I don't want to see an ace.
Got about a half an hour left in the show here. Dave.
Now, let's say Roeder had made it 75, and you get a call in seat number 2, $75, and number 3 calls $75. Well, then in that case, you might even want to make it 250 or 275 or even 300. You know, because you've got 3 players in there who've all committed money, and the pot's big enough. But when you get a couple of limps and then one razor, I don't think you need to make it that big.
Jack, queen.
I got to do some research tonight, Dave, in my apartment.
Can't you just go to adult poker party?
I am.
Oh, okay.
I'm intrigued now. I was figuring that I was going to find a website, but I haven't found one.
I'm already rehearsing how I'm going to say this to my wife.
Sean's got kings now. This is incredible. Flop hands we've seen here tonight. Unbelievable. And he's made it 75 again.
Well, nice consistency there.
Now, JR's going to call here with pocket threes. That is the type of hand you want to be in there with if the guy's deep enough. It looks like Sean's got a bunch of white chips over there.
Yeah. They're also in position, and is Robert going to call? No, Robert's not going to call. I thought maybe Robert would get involved with ace-7.
So we're heads up here, $150. Kings against threes. Oh, queen 7-9. JR does not hit his set.
That's the kind of flop. I mean, if I have kings, I want somebody in there with ace-queen here.
He's going to lead for a pot size $150 bet. One white chip and two purples. And
I don't take it down. Now, I've already been rehearsing what I'm going to say to my wife when we're down there at the...
Really? Well, you've been rehearsing?
Well, I'm going to be down there for obviously the whole time. And when my wife comes down to kind of hang out and everything, and she goes into the convention center, and she sees our booth, and she goes, wait, you guys are sharing it with the adult poker party?
Well, it's not like it's any different than last year. Remember what Kenneth James said? All the hookers in Vegas were off of work that week because they were all in the Lifestyles convention.
Hey, I understand that. I understand that, and you understand that, but I've already rehearsed. I know my wife is going to be there, and she's going to go, don't you think that's kind of cheesy? And, of course, I have to say, well, yeah, I know. I tried to tell him not to do it. But, I'm not the producer. I have to go with what they say. I'm only the commentator. What can I do?
I mean, I didn't mean to say hookers there, but
yes, you did mean to say hookers.
But industry girls of Vegas, strippers, daytime promotional modeling is a big thing.
Daytime promotional modeling?
Yeah, in trade shows. Checked around, third to fourth heart.
I know. Is hookers bad? And that's somewhat legal in certain parts of Nevada.
Well, Alex is going to bet. John's going to bet with queen 4.
And DJ's got the absolute nuts here. He cannot lose this pot.
He gets away from it.
But he throws it away. And John's going to take this down then.
The poker blue girls, Dave, were just... But, boy, those bombshell models were really something last year.
Yeah. I tell you, it was funny, too, and you saw Yosh, and I have a lot of respect for Yosh. I like him a lot, and he's starting up his new, the new poker site, Poker Blue. And I got to tell you, you got to really step up and put some money in there and get some good girls.
He did put a lot of money, into the party and stuff. Remember the party that was on top of the Palms, was it?
Okay, you got to get rid of it.
Was it on top of the Palms, right? The Ghost Bar?
Yeah, I mean, the party was great, but you got to get, take some of that and hire some better-looking girls.
What?
Because obviously the bombshell models that were around us, they were hot. But the Bulldog girls, they were the hottest ones there, I thought. They had that bike, right? They had the Harley they were giving away.
No, they were definitely industry girls. Got a raise here by Gary. He's going to make it. This little min raise I never understand. 25 in the big blind. Not enough to drive anybody out with king queen off suit here. I just never really understand that raise.
Yeah, he's just building up a pot though. Out of position, and now he's just such a tough hand to play out of position, and he's forced to check it now.
Well, DJ's got 7-8. Let's see if he puts money in there. He doesn't. But Sean is going to take a shot at it here with king 8 of diamonds.
Oh, no, he probably figures, you know what, nobody else wants it, I'll take it.
Now, DJ probably should have, well, I might have put some money in there with 7-8. You never know.
Probably.
And he's out of there.
Take it down. Now, I'd like to say that our schedule is going to be somewhat open for this, the next, say, 3 or 4 weeks during the Poker Classic. Obviously, on Wednesdays and Fridays will still be our big games. But if we can get this game down on Monday, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, we probably will.
Email here from Jared Pondlik again. He says, great idea. Just have a blog special with Bart trying to pick up the porn stars. There you go. And another
that
email.
That would be great. We could put a little Bart cam, but put it in your glasses or something, so nobody can see it. That'd be great.
55.
Another email from a guy who says, I think Jared likes you as more than a friend. Got a raise here to 55 by Sean. 5-6 of hearts.
And that last email is not from Jared.
No. Well, Roeder's got ace-jack offsuit. Is he going to call it in the big blind? Yes, he is. This is an under-the-gun raise, or second position raise. Now, Sean did raise with a suited connector. Let's keep.
But how does Robert know that?
King 8 deuce, and I think that Robert's going to be forced to check and fold here, right?
And you imagine
Sean didn't bet, Dave. Turns a deuce. Really surprising.
Not much value in the betting 5, 6 of hearts there. He's really playing it like he's got, say, queens. You know what I mean? Or jacks.
And look at this. Robert snuffs out the bet. He checks the turn. Sean throws a little bet out, and Rotor check raises him with ace-jack.
Yeah, nice read there by Robert, really. Turns a 6, changes nothing. Actually, the river's a 6. That would have gave Sean the best hand. But obviously, they weren't really playing their cards. They were playing each other there. Not much value in raising 5, 6 of hearts if you're not going to follow through with it. Now, I just wanted to point out, here at the bike, we've got some exciting things going on. Mo has actually kind of organized this. There's a shootout going on. Now, our Legends, our World Poker Tour Legends main event is actually $10,000
this year. We've changed it to $10,000.
Normally, it used to be $5,000. We changed it to $10,000. And Mo is actually conducting a double shootout, where if you win your first shootout, the winners of all the first shootout go into a second shootout. If you win 2 of them, you get a seat into our main event.
Daily, I think it's $130 shootouts, and then once a month we'll hold the final round at the final table.
Exactly. We've actually with 2 going on right now.
Got a $35 bet here by DJ, again with absolutely nothing. Now Sean, he limped in with ace-3 of clubs from up front. He's going to call. That should get JR out. I can't imagine he's going to overcall here with middle pair. Wow, he calls.
What do you know? You know nothing.
Well, turns a 3. Now Sean's got aces up.
Maybe Sean, you can push a little
harder. Is DJ
harder.
going to dry bluff here again?
Well, he's picked up a wheel draw now.
Sean bets 200 now.
Yeah, and I think this is, JR's really got to throw this hand away. You got to start thinking, what can you beat? I mean, the only draw out there is, say, 10-8 or 6-8. I think it's an easy laydown. He does. Take it down. Now, when does the World Series actually starts? End of June, right, this year?
Yes.
It's about a month away. And with no limit hold'em events every single day for our American Poker Classic, we really should have a lot of no limit players here for the next.
I assume we're going to do the 3 to 5 game tomorrow. Oh, we're going to keep doing the 5? That's fine. Fine with me. You know? I think this game has been the bitch of Live with the Bike, and it should have more playtime.
Definitely should.
Especially since I play in it mostly.
And this game is really, really...
This is a really small 500 game.
Yeah. And we always talk about what defines a game, and it's certainly not the blinds.
No.
Because you look at a 500 game like this, and then you see a 500 game with, say, Jonas or Jason Cacciatani or Corporation Mike.
Right.
Completely different game.
$35 raise here by seat 8. He's going to take it down there. John with King 8 suited. Yeah, I want to, again, anyone who's interested in Omaha 8 or better, check out Gregory's website there, 08poker.com. And check out the Hutchinson hand rankings. I think you can just Google that, and that's a great little start to how to play. I mean, Omaha 8 or better, and there's Jay and Ray. Omaha 8 or better, much like Limit Hold'em, Dave, is a lot of pre-flop hand selection. Kings here for seat 2, and Rotor's got pocket jacks on the button. And seat number 8 is going to open raise here with ace-queen. I wouldn't be surprised if Robert re-raises here with jacks. $40 raise with ace-queen. Now, jacks in a cash game are not necessarily always a re-raising hand.
No, they're not at all.
And he is just going to call. And
now, will he be able to get it? Wow.
And DJ's going to raise. Wow, what?
I was going to say, I was surprised. You get a raiser, a call, and now you're going to re-raise with ace-queen.
No. DJ's got kings on the button. Ace-queen's the original raiser.
Okay,
yeah,
I
did that
up
backwards.
Yeah, I did.
You were like, wow. I'm like, wow, what?
Now, I don't think
it with kings.
Is there any way Robert's going to throw this away?
Well, he committed himself with jacks before. And look at this. Ace-queen calls. Now you might even fold. More of a reason to fold. And he calls. Well.
And this is a big pot. Now, if the flop comes out 10 high, is Robert going to go broke?
It's a $450 pot to the flop. Well, there's the ultimate scare card, and John outflops everybody.
And lucky. It's a really lucky flop for Robert. It is. That flop comes out 10-7-4. I think Robert's losing his whole stack. Now, is this a flop you might check raise here?
Well, again, with that stack size and with this pot size, that's what we talk about because it's almost like a restricted type thing.
Well, you think about it. Okay, if you bet there, you're only going to get
and he gets folded. Yeah, fold there.
exactly. You're only going to get called by ace king or ace queen. Where if you give them a chance to bluff at it, they will probably put a little continuation bet out there with kings. Then you can check raise all in, get a little more of his money.
No, with my hand.
I figure at that point, once you call a big raise with ace queen, you're not going anywhere once you flop your ace anyway. Got an email there from David Gladstone. He's saying that, hey, were you guys dogging the Poker Blue girls at last year's World Series of Poker? Maybe we were looking at different girls, but the ones I saw were very nice.
Yeah, maybe we were looking at different girls.
Yeah, David obviously works for Poker Blue.
Jared's got pocket tens here. He is in the big blind. Now, if he gets limped around, is he going to raise? Sometimes you raise, sometimes you just check it, right?
Yeah. This table, I got to tell you, I probably raise. This table's pretty
now
packed.
it's going to be limped around like 8 ways, Dave. I agree with you.
Yeah, this table, I mean, different tables, I might just tap the table and see the flop and see what happens. But I think I make it here. What do you got? 1, 2, 3, 4. You got $60, $70 in the pot. I probably make it 75 more. Or maybe even 100 more.
He makes it 75 more.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that'll probably get what you want. You might get one caller, you might get none. You figure for sure your hand is the best hand right now.
Now, I was wondering, I thought Elvis might actually raise in the small blind with sevens there, but he just chose to limp. And Elvis calls.
Okay. Well, that's the best guy. You want a guy calling you. The only guy you have position on, he calls.
King, queen, 8 here on the flop.
And he goes, check, check. Wow.
Turns a 6.
Elvis is going to hit a 7, only a 7. It checks again.
Check, check, and the river's a deuce here. You know, if you're ever in there with sevens and the guy checks it twice, and you hit a 7, I actually saw a guy do this with me, and it actually worked. I think it's a time really to overbet the river because it won't make sense to a guy that's just check jacks or tens there, right?
Yeah.
Don't you think? I mean,
you look at it and go,
yeah.
What is this guy betting? I'll even go as far as, let's say you have queen jack there, a hand as weak as queen jack, and you check it twice. On the river, I'm throwing in a value bet.
Oh, yeah, of course.
I'm going to throw in a nice little small value bet, and I'm going to get called by tens. Because the guy's going to go, come on.
Did Condoleezza Rice go to the University of Denver?
I guess so.
Okay.
I don't know. Apparently, Jeff Klein doesn't like that I'm popping my peas.
Did you get a PM from him? He PM'd me a couple days ago. I haven't really gotten a chance to get back to him.
I haven't checked it. I'll have to check. I get him occasionally from surfing. Surfing Illini over on 2+2.
Got a raise here to 60 by Elvis with ace 7 of diamonds. Now, it's funny. You saw me in a game earlier raise with ace 10 in a straddled pot. I got to tell you, I've almost changed my game up a little bit because once you get called with ace rag, now ace 10's a little bit better here. If Elvis hits his ace, he has no idea where he's at.
No.
I mean, even with my ace 10, I actually ended up checking and folding because BB actually bet out of turn, and I thought he had ace king, remember?
Yeah, actually, you checked to him. Maybe you knew he had a best hand. Yeah. Well, you were in the cutoff seat with ace 10.
Right.
And then once BB called you behind you.
And I knew if he checked or if he bet, I could actually see what people did behind me as well.
Yeah.
Three-way action here. 9-7-3. Well, Elvis has got the best hand here. Now, Gary is going to lead out here with 5s.
It's not a bad play at all. I mean, if you put your opponents on high cards, ace king, ace queen, you really put them to the test here.
125. Now, if Sean calls here, I think Elvis is going to have to fold the best hand.
I don't think Sean can call this with 7-8 of spades. I mean, he's got second pair with no kicker.
Do you think Elvis is even going to call?
Without a diamond out there, I probably throw this away as well. I mean, even
Sean's got the pre-flop razor to his left.
Even if you put Gary on just 2 hearts, let's say you put him on like Jack 10 of hearts, do you really want to get involved with a hand as weak as ace 7?
Well, especially when you're behind, and say that's the best case scenario.
Yeah, exactly. He could have a 9 here, but he also could have big hearts. He could have a straight draw.
In this case, we can see he's doing it with 5s. I can't believe that Sean's going to call here in between. I mean, middle pair, he gets away.
No, he throws it away, okay.
And I said, I wouldn't be surprised if Elvis just folds.
I mean, good players throw away the best hand all the time, and I think this is one of those cases where I will throw away ace-7 of diamonds on this flop almost 100% of the time. Show me your bluff. Hey, congratulations. No limit cash games. It's not a tournament. There's no urgency to accumulate chips. If it was a tournament, it's a little bit different. You can pick your spots in a cash game better than this.
I'm going to regret this when I get home.
And he said he's going to regret it. And, you know, he is throwing away the best hand. But look at that, 5 of diamonds on the turn. Gary actually would have gotten there with a set on the turn.
If you put
So the rabbit camp.
if you put him on something like 6-8 as well, then 5 completes that draw, right?
I just don't know what you're hoping for with ace-7 of diamonds. I mean, I guess you're rooting for a black ace on the turn or a 7.
It's another thing about that board, and we saw, well, actually, I saw Dave try to do it once, and I almost tried to do it with King-Queen. The flop comes out 9-7-3. You might be able to call there with 6-8, but you also might be able to represent 8-10, giving you 4 cards, 16 outs twice to get a guy off of the hand.
Right.
If you have 8-10, you might be able to represent 6-8 as well.
I mean, you actually did that. You thought about doing that on Friday. You were saying.
Right.
Obviously, you've got to make sure that your opponent
It's good enough to
put you on that hand. Got about 15 minutes left in tonight's show. Don't forget to catch us tomorrow night, 7 o'clock Pacific time. Pacific time.
3-way action here, Dave. Queen, queen, deuce. Well, DJ's got a small flush draw.
You know, we always talk about semi-bluffing with your draws. If he bets this, he takes it down. Doesn't need to actually hit his diamonds. And he's going to bet 35, and this should work. Alex and John get out. Take it down, DJ.
Never try it again.
Looks like this guy signed up for 2+2. The guy emailed us about propping. And we did. We answered this question at the beginning of the show. Because you emailed it to us at the beginning of the show. Point special. That was from...
Actually, if you want to hear more about propping as well, check out our interview on the circuit.
Chris Burns.
Go to cardplayer.com.
Justin Gingrich.
And go to the circuit. And we were right at the end of February, LA Poker Classic. Bart and I were on, and we probably spent 15 minutes talking about propping.
Hopefully we'll have that circuit interview up, linked to our website at some point.
DJ with Big Slick here. And he's going to raise it up. Makes it 45.
Oh, John's got pocket 9s in the big blind.
And that's a hand that is tough to play out of position. It's one of those hands where if it comes out rags, you don't really know where you're at. But I think you can call this.
He's going to raise.
Wow. Well, there's a play.
65.
He's going to make it 65 more.
Now, the danger of raising here at 9s is once it's heads up, DJ can smooth call you with aces, kings.
Well, 4-4-3. Let's see if he leads here.
And this is the problem here. I gotta say, if I've raised with aces or kings, or even queens, and I'm DJ, I just smooth call the guy out of the blind. There's no point in me re-raising him. I'm just gonna smooth call him, let him bet into me.
And Roeder here is going to move over to seat number 9. Gary is left. I got to tell you, he's been. I mean, we've dogged on him all night. His play has been okay. I mean, I wouldn't call it a 10. He hasn't been super out of line. He's called a lot of stuff that he probably shouldn't with his stack size. But he hasn't actually been behaviorally out of line that much, which I was expecting. Robert Roeder.
Hey, it's funny, you know, you and I kind of dogged Jean-Robert Ballon.
Especially when he ordered Malibu with a splash of pineapple as a cocktail.
But after we talked to him, after we talked with him, and we saw him on the show, I kind of gained a lot of respect for him as a person. Really nice guy. Maybe we'll do the same with Roeder. Although I doubt it.
Although you doubt it. Just have a feeling, huh?
I just have a feeling.
35.
Get a $35 raise here by Clint. Jack 10 off suit.
Nice post here from A. Hey Dog says, I thought the girls at the Hollywood poker booth were the best one of them all. They were in Maxim a couple of months ago. And
were they at the convention?
I don't know.
No, I would have remembered that.
One of my good friends from college, his sister, is actually one of the Hollywood poker girls.
Really?
Yeah.
Now look at this. Robert Roeder actually has queen 7 here. He's flopped 2 pair, and he's going to lead out with top and bottom.
Well, Clint's got a big draw, and I can't imagine Clint going anywhere here.
He's going to bet 75, Roeder is. And Clint is going to call. Clint was the pre-flop raiser. Roeder called the raise with queen 7 offsuit out of the big blind. He called.
Hallelujah, it's quit.
Yeah, we got the right cards up now. With a turn as a jack, gives Clint a pair, and Roeder's all in. Roeder is all in here. This is about a pot size, well, a little over a pot size bet.
I like the bet by Robert, I really do. When you get called, you've got to realize your opponent very well could have ace queen, could have, say, aces or kings.
Yep.
Could have jack 10. Why not put some pressure on him right away?
Now for Clint, the 10 would not be an out, obviously. He could catch a king, an 8, or a jack here, which gives him 8 outs. And I think that you might figure that my jack or 10, my 10 wouldn't necessarily be good here either, Dave, unless he's betting out with 7-9, right?
It's tough to put him on 2 pair.
Think so?
Queen 7, it's just a raised pot. It's just
Yeah,
kind
I
of
guess.
strange. And you wouldn't necessarily think he had king queen or ace queen here? I'm just...
Well, in that case, he'd have 10 outs, but I still don't think he's necessarily... Yeah, he's not getting the odds.
No, he's a 3-1 dog.
Yeah.
Pot's not laying him that much. Pot was probably laying him 2-1. Anyway, yeah, you can check it out. Erin Muller is her name. And we dog my friend so much. His name is
His
Fred.
sister?
Yeah, I went to school with him. His name is Fred Muller. And if you ever meet this guy is one of the... he's such a loser. Such a big nerd. I love the guy. But he is a big loser.
More than you?
Yes.
He's the nerd of you?
Oh, he is the nerd. He's like 5'8", 135 pounds. Kind of scrawny, and he likes Star Trek.
135 pounds?
Yeah, and he lives for Star Trek.
And his sister's hot.
His sister's smoking.
Does he get, bothered by it? I told you, I have one of my best friends at home. His sister was smoking, too, and he was so pissed.
Yeah.
He couldn't talk about it around him. Obviously, I don't have any siblings, so I don't really know. You have a sister, right?
I do. My sister's not. My sister's got a big fat ass. I've talked about it before.
No, but what I'm saying is, would you get upset? Was she older or younger?
Older.
Would you have gotten upset if
Somebody said what? That
she was thinking
hot?
about her sisters? Yeah, yeah.
I'd just be like, my sister? Did you see her? Are you talking about the same person?
You're harsh, man. Jeez.
I'm not harsh. I'm honest.
Did you guys fight when you were younger?
Yeah. Like any siblings do. Not. We have a good
Is your
relationship.
sister married now?
Yeah. Married, 2 kids, dog, white picket fence.
4-way action here, limped around. Queen 9 deuce.
Nice flop for DJ.
Heart draw, middle pair, jack 9 of hearts.
Yeah.
Gets checked over to JR, and he's going to bet with 9-10. And he does not even have the best hand now, because DJ actually has got the best hand.
Surprised DJ did not bet that flop.
He might check raise here. No, he's just going to call. It's going to be interesting to see how JR's going to play this, Dave. He might put one more bet in and then check it down on the river. We'll see. Turns a 5.
And DJ's jack is going to play here.
If you had 9-10 here and the guy checked it, would you throw a little bet in here and then check the river? Hope that the guy's not on hearts? Well, now DJ's going to come out and bet. Now that 5 did nothing to the flop.
But JR, what can you beat here?
Flush draw. But
Yeah,
you can't beat a flush draw with a 9, though.
No. Yeah, the weird thing is, actually, I met his sister, though, when she was 12 years old, 13 years old.
Yeah.
When we were in school.
Well, the funny thing about my friend was, so his sister is 2 years younger than us.
Yeah.
And I started hanging out with him when we were in 8th grade. So we were 12 or 13.
Yeah.
And she was 11. And I saw her develop.
Well, that's the thing,
years.
exactly. I remember.
What a pervert I am, huh?
That's kind of scary, the way you said that. I remember.
She was the type of girl that,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, the senior high school football captain asked her out to the senior prom when she was a freshman, and he was
Wow.
a senior.
Wow, that's saying something.
Yeah.
I remember Fred's sister. I remember seeing pictures of her, and we were like, "Oh, she's cute. She's a cute little girl."
Right.
And then 6 years later,
You see her by the pool one day, and you're like,
I told you I was at the HollywoodPoker.com party, the 1-year anniversary party, and she was there.
Oh, that's the first time you've seen her since then, you mean?
Yeah, I didn't see her.
Wow. Oh, so you guys haven't even talked about it, your friends and you.
No, I just heard that she was like a model, and I was like, yeah, whatever, blah, blah, blah.
JR's flop trip fours here, 7-4-4. Now, Rotor's got queen 7 on the button. You wonder, now actually there was a bet out here by seat 3. He's got an open-ended straight draw. It's not up there. He's got 5-6. And JR raises, and Robert's out of there. And JR raises.
Okay.
But Sean calls with the straight draw. The turn's a king. So JR is raised right away with trip fours, and he's going to bet. I got to tell you, the way that JR's mannerisms are going in this particular hand, I put him on a 4 without a doubt here.
Yeah, and the problem with calling this, JR might have 4-3.
Right. If you hit your hand,
it might not be good, exactly. You almost need the 8 and only the 8.
Just get up real early. Just get up real early. Yeah, you can watch 5 a.m. Get up at 5 a.m.
Remember, he voluntarily entered this pot with a 4. So you got to start thinking, okay, he's got 5-4, 4-3, 6-4, or ace-4.
Yeah, 2 p.m.
And if you start putting all those possibilities, I think you don't want to get involved here.
Me, I'll just barely do that.
And Sean is going to throw it away. And the river's an ace of hearts. Doesn't change anything. JR takes it down.
So did you talk with the girl?
No, she was busy there. Actually, I did not get a chance to talk to her.
She was busy there with like James Woods.
No, she was. They were like parading her.
Vince Van Patten's date.
They were parading out the calendar girls. They were just parading them out, and they kind of left. And I was like, oh, cool.
Oh, I love.
It was kind of a lame party. It really was. I mean, the only cool thing was we got the giveaway bag. We got a nanopod in the giveaway bag.
Oh, that's cool.
Which was kind of
cool. Did you say
cool.
you hung around with Scott Huff and his girlfriend the whole time?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I was there with. I was actually there with my father-in-law, Maxwell.
That's right.
Colville. And the two of us hung out with Scott Huff and his girlfriend for probably half the party.
There's 4 people on the board for the 500. Donna?
The rest of the party was kind of
There's
lame.
4 people on the board for the
Actually,
500.
James Woods didn't even show up, which is like
Really? His own
terrible.
little thing?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was really in bad taste. Yeah, it was just, this is your baby. What are you doing? He was like back east.
So is there media and stuff there?
He was back east. Yeah, a little bit of media.
10-3-4 here with a couple diamonds. JR's got 9-10. Now DJ's got a diamond draw here, seat 1. And Elvis is going to lead out with absolutely nothing. Now JR calls here, again with 9-10. I actually might raise or fold there with a hand as weak as 9-10 next to act.
Well, either that or fold, right? Yeah, you said
yeah,
fold.
raise or fold. Turn is an 8. DJ picks up more outs. He's got a straight draw now to the 7 with his diamonds.
Yeah. 12 outs to the winner.
Elvis checks. And JR is now going to bet here. And I actually like the bet with that guy calling behind me. Could easily have a diamond draw.
Yeah, definitely. Or 5-6.
Now, if JR bets there, and I know JR, and I have 6-9 of diamonds, I think there's a lot of fold equity in raising. Unless JR has 10-8 there, I think he's going to get away from it.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And here we go to the river. And the river here is a 4.
It's funny, there are some players you want to kind of smooth call with your draws,
right,
because if you hit it, you might win a big pot. And there are some players where you're not going to necessarily win a big pot, but you can get them off of it.
Let's see if JR throws a little stoppish bet out here on the river. He does. He's going to bet 75, kind of a blocker bet.
And I don't think DJ's going to make a move here. No, he's not going to throw it away. Nice play by JR.
Again, there's no way JR's going to call a raise there on the turn.
No, of course not.
I don't think so. And this is going to be the last hand of the night. Dave, join us tomorrow night. It might be the same game, 500 no limit. 5-10 lines. Pocket jacks here for JR. Ace queen suited in seat 8. And it looks like Robert Roeder's got pocket 10s in seat 9.
Okay, now this explains some stuff. David Glanstad, he says, hey, I guess you guys live in L.A. You can be a bit pickier about what is hot and what is not. By Eastern North Carolina standards, the Poker Blue girls were 11s.
It's actually not Roeder with 10s. It's seat 1 with 10s.
Understood.
Now we got a straddle, a raise, and a call. JR is in the big blind. I think he's the type of player that he's probably not going to re-raise here. And I don't necessarily know if he should. Like I said, it depends on the table. Raise and a call.
The first raiser was John.
Got a raise and a call.
It's funny. One of the first times I was ever on live at the bike, I actually had pocket jacks.
Yeah, I remember.
And it's always faced the dilemma of, do you re-raise with jacks or do you want to see a flop?
Well, this is going to be about a $200 pot pre-flop. John, the pre-flop raiser with ace queen. Well, that's the mega scare card here, but JR is actually still good. Let's see if John can throw a forward bet out here.
And that's always the problem with jacks. A lot of cards can hurt you, obviously, and you're not sure which ones do.
And this might go bet, fold, fold. He's throwing a $120 bet out here. It's a little over half the size of the pot, and if you're JR here, yeah, the only thing you might be able to beat here is something like pocket tens, ace queen. You obviously can't beat queens either, right?
You can also beat ace jack. I mean, there are an awful lot of hands you can beat here. If you put them on a range of, say, maybe 10 or 12 hands, all he did was raise pre-flop. It wasn't like he called a big raise or he re-raised.
I can't see you and I playing this hand as a check call. I would almost rather bet out.
Oh, I definitely. It's either a bet, and you see how your opponent reacts.
Or it's a check fold, right?
Yeah, I mean, check call, you get no information whatsoever. You have no idea is your opponent. I mean, John could have pocket sixes, pocket eights. Who knows what he has?
And he said he was thinking about re-raising. Yeah. And it's over.
That's it.
Turn in the river would have been running queens anyways, so there you go. That's going to do it for us.
That's it.
Stick around tomorrow night. Great way to open up the weekday.
Yeah.
A little 500, no limit.
A lot of fun.
For everybody in the booth. And for Dave Tuckman, I'm Bart Hanson. We will see you all tomorrow, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock Pacific time.
Yes.
Yeah, we changed that a long time.
I'll see you at 6, but you'll see us at 7.
All right, good night, everybody, from Live with Mike.
Yeah.
It's here. It's big. And it's closer than you think. It's not a tournament. It's what you don't see on TV. The cash is real. The stakes are high. They bet big. They win big. They lose big. High stakes live action poker. Live at the bike. Watch it live on the web or play it if you dare at the Bicycle Casino right here in Los Angeles.